Oopsie. Good morning. Hold on. Hold on. Good morning. Good morning. Hold on. Fucking hell. Boys, stop. Stop yourselves. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, meowing. Good morning, oomph. I have my stuff all fucked up today. Hold on. Let me switch a Rooney. I can't see. What is going on with this? This is a shirt. And it's like fucking. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Kelly. Good morning, Kelly. How are you? Good morning, oomph. Good morning, meowing. Happy Friday. It is Friday. Yeah, I was trying something fancy and it didn't really work. Good morning. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I'm Lolo, and it's very warm here in Los Angeles. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's pretty much melty time. So I'm melting, but that's okay. I don't know why my shirt doesn't fit right. Okay, anyway, it's one of those it's one of those mornings. Nothing is like fitting right. Good morning, Teresa. How are you? I hope everyone had a good night. I did. It was pretty good. Um, yeah. I don't know. I think that something that's really interesting right now is I feel like we did before the November election where I just felt like there was a lot of tension, and I think it's the ramp. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think that the midterms approaching have something to do with the emotional balance in the world. Does that make sense? And I don't know. I'm just picking that up. I'm picking up a lot of really strong like energy. Hi Lee, how are you? Happy fucking Friday, girl. It's Friday. So I don't know. I feel like I hope that the time coming up to midterms that I'm hoping for calm in terms of internal. No. I think we will. I absolutely think we're going to have midterms like we normally do. I'm sure there'll be some controversy within the midterms. I mean, let's talk that out. I think emotional balance, yeah. Yeah, haha. Well, you might be pretty good at that, oomph. I don't know. I feel like you're pretty good at that, emotionally balanced. But I guess I just mean I hope that I don't know. I guess I'm hoping for some internal calm. I guess I just have to worry about myself, which is true. I mean, I would only worry about myself, right? Like whatever. But but I think we'll absolutely have midterms. I think everything will be relatively normal. There will be some pockets of kerfuffle, you know. There will be some push and pull, and there will be some controversy. But I'm the one laughing maniacally. Well, that's true. I don't know. I don't know what happens outside of this chat, so I don't know. But I think that I don't know. I guess I just what is that? Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Sorry. Is it maniacally or hysterically? Because I think both could be true. I don't think it has to just be maniacally. Maybe it's just hysterical. Maybe it's not really mania. Yes. But good morning, Jane Jane. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Neither indicates emotional balance. Well, that's a good point. Well, no, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't think if you looked up emotional balance, that would be it. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think we will too, because Clump is just so obvious. They can't get away with the shady plans like Georgia. Yeah, exactly. I hope so. I mean, I actually hope so, but I think you're right, Jane. I think that for many there has been a big wake up call about what this regime is actually capable of. So I think everything will be normal. I think it'll be fine. I think that, we'll have some consternation. But I don't know. I think it's just our own internal emotional balance. Yeah, I don't know. You know what it is? I grew up in a family of 6 kids, right? And I was the youngest, or I am the youngest still. But I grew up in a family of 6 kids, and everybody always fought, right? It was always like people fought or argued. They argued. They didn't fight. That's not true. My family loves each other. They're not really that way, but they would argue, right? And especially around politics and stuff like that back in the day, because my brothers and sisters were like super hippies, like legitimate, 1960s, 70s hippies. And so there would be, parental like arguments, tussles. My dad was kind of a hard ass when I was younger, but he was much changed, or in my mind, much changed as we grew together. So, but when I was a teenager and when I was a child, he was just very stern. He was very like, he was pretty emotionless in terms of what I observed as his child, right? He was pretty not cold, but he was just not very overly affectionate, right? So I think that I grew up in a family where you could have like big arguments, and it was almost like they enjoyed the arguing part. And I just grew up not enjoying that. Like it always made me uncomfortable. And it's not that I want to avoid conflict, but I'd rather take the emotion out of it, right? I guess the emotion was the piece that got me. So, anyway, I'm just all to say that I sense that type of time coming up where there's going to be a lot for us to argue about and a lot for us to struggle with. And I'm not saying none of that shouldn't happen, because I think for many, that's the process, right? The process is just like, I don't know, just is what it is. But I'm hoping no, I guess I'm just going to work on my grace. I'm going to work on my grace because I need to kind of protect myself, and because I am an emotional little bag of feels, and so I need to figure that. But anyway, I'm just sensing the energy in the air, and I want to just, for my own sanity, get ahead of it and be like, yep, okay, this is Friday. This is Friday. And tomorrow's Saturday. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. And to focus on, I also have to do a much better job of focusing on things outside of politics. I have to definitely work on that. 2026 goals. Work on something that doesn't involve politics. Stop thinking you need to be on top of things, well, which you won't be. And then, let go and let Lolo, I guess. Let go and let Lolo. Okay. SC opinion. Good morning. My older sister was a 90s hippie. That's so cool. Peace flowing like a river. I know, right? St. Francis of Assisi, one of my favorite hymns from my school days. I'm going to tell you, let there be peace on earth and let it. I'm going to fucking sing that to myself. And it's really just a reminder for myself. 5149 at a minimum. What gives you life? Yeah, exactly. I need to work on that. Okay, so wait. Meowing is coming in. SC opinion allows a street preacher to sue, contest a local law restricting protest demonstration to a protest zone, but offers no insight on the validity of the protest zones themselves. I think I could. I guess I'd need to know more. It doesn't. Like, I guess I'm going back to, like, these MAGA protests and MAGA versus, Antifa, I guess, or whatever. And the fact that protest zones, I think, are reasonable. I don't think they should judge necessarily the protest zones and what they do, because then you start to get into censorship and valuing one speech over another. I don't know. It can get sticky, but I would have to read it, because at first glance, I don't trust the Supreme Court. So, oh, it was a unanimous opinion written by Kagan, but is the only opinion released today as well. Oh, thank you, Meowing. Thank you, thank you. Good morning. Hi, Michael. Up early so I don't fall behind like I did the last couple days. Oh, I'm so sorry. maybe I should maybe I should go later in the day. I don't know. It is kind of early for the West Coasters. But thanks, Haggard. Well, you can always drift off to sleep. It'll subconsciously get in your mind, actually, so it's fine. I have to fix my shirt. Let's see. Oh yeah, so this morning there's a couple things. One, I'd really like to listen to a hearing that was from yesterday. Free speech zones were a joke. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I don't know. But I think in terms of like keeping protesters apart from each other, which, I don't know. There are no jokes about sheech, like speech. Oh. It was about whether a 94 ruling barred the preacher from contesting the local ordinance, but the 94 ruling under this option only applies if the preacher was suing to have prior conviction vacated. Oh, that's very confusing in my mind, but that's just my brain. You're in my mind. When I was building a fence and playing catch up. There you go. Yay, productivity. I love that. Yeah, I'll read about that case because I am interested in that. And there's clearly more to it than I understand. So I'll choose to do the right thing and not open my big fat mouth when I shouldn't. I do that a lot. I should really learn to just not say anything. I think silence can be very golden, and I should really learn that. Okay, but here's what I've got for you. I have, this is an oversight field hearing about accountability and the United Nations. So I think they're probably going to talk about the validity of us being part of the United Nations. I don't know. Oops. Oh, let me make sure, my friend. Or we can do the nuclear one from yesterday, which is how's the government implementing Trump's nuclear EOs? And there was a hearing about that yesterday that I kind of wanted us to watch, but we didn't have time. So you have a choice. You can have the United Nations oversight or whatever, or you can have nuclear. What do you think? What would you like? Put a 1 in the chat for nuclear. Put a 2 in the chat for United Nations. I hate it when people do that. Can I just say that? I think that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry. But there you go. Stephanie, thank you for putting a 1 in the chat. All right, so what did I say? Nuclear? Nuclear was first, right? Shared a link to the Supreme Court decision. Thanks, Max, for the heads up they were releasing this today. Good. That is so great because I can never keep track of what the SCOTUS is doing and when they are doing it. So thank you for that. Like, hype if you're so inclined. Fuck yeah. Oh, don't feel stupid. Everybody, you need to answer that question so Stephanie doesn't feel stupid. Put a 1 in the chat for nuclear. Put a 2 in the chat. Actually, Stephanie, that's really super helpful. You're like the only person that helped. Oh, shit. Michael Haynes goes to United Nations. Jane, United Nations. Stephanie, I love you. You're so funny. I think that's great. Oh, repeat the choices. Okay, Lee. 1 for a nuclear hearing. 2, wait, was it? Yeah, 1 is nuclear hearing, and 2 is the United Nations. Well, not the United Nations itself. It's a hearing about the United Nations. So it's not even the United Nations. Which actually I'm still interested in. Is this trivia night? It sure is. Not tonight. Lee says 1. Okay, nuclear is getting there. Okay, Michael's like, and 1. I'll do them. I'll do whatever you put on. Silly girl. 1, Meowing Star says, okay, we have critical mass. Okay, let me entertain you. Let me open my thing here. Doodly-doo. Do, 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 do. Where is it? La, la. Oh, there it is. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Wait. Oops, like, this poll is fixed. Well, I don't know. I guess. I don't know what to say. You said nuclear, and I was learning about elephant's foot under the reactor for Chernobyl. Oh, last night. So I'm curious. Okay, well, I'm actually very curious. And actually, both hearings sound really good. The United Nations ones, I'm very interested about how we're trying to pull ourselves out of the United Nations. So that's, mildly interesting. But also the nuclear one is terribly interesting. And we've got a lot to talk about in terms of nuclear reactors and other things that this regime is kind of planning. So I think it would be, both of them would be actually quite good. But we'll start here. We'll start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. I'm not sure how this is going to go. Oops. Goofy. Oh, I know I can do that. Hi. 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 Why can't you go bigger? Okay, well, you know what? Fuck you. I don't remember how to type. Okay, here we go. Sorry that we missed the Afro Man trial. I know, Grace Lisa. Good morning, dear. And the temp is turning up on Corey Boo. Oh, really? Corey Lewandowski? He's going, bye-bye. He must be gone. I'm kind of surprised he's not gone, like, immediately. Like, I don't even know why they need him. Is he really that good at what he does? I can't imagine that's true. Really? I just can't imagine he's really good at anything. I'm sorry. Even, the sexy stuff. I just can't imagine he's really good at it. Lust is lust, so it is what it is. All right. Let's try this. Hi, Sammy. Kitty Sammy. Yeah. Yeah. What happened?
Going to wait.
Oops. Oh, God. It's based Mike Lee. Okay. Now, it's going to start anytime. Hi. I have a cat. I have a cat on the back of my head. Okay, are we going? Come on, go. Here we go.
Short timer over here. Yeah, exactly. Committee will come to order. Good morning to everyone and welcome. Before turning to my opening statement, I want to let all members know how we're going to proceed this morning. That I also want to thank Senator Heinrich and his staff for working with us on today's hearing. On May 23rd, 2025, President Trump issued 4 executive orders concerning nuclear energy to help launch a renaissance that in that really important area and that increasingly important area within the energy sector of the United States. These executive orders do the following: direct deployment of advanced nuclear reactor technologies for national security, require needed reforms at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to safely and expeditiously license nuclear facilities, employ existing Department of Energy authorities to accelerate nuclear reactor testing and the deployment of new designs, and direct comprehensive action to reinvigorate America's nuclear industrial base, secure supply chains, and prepare our workforce to ensure American
Lee, I know what you're
nuclear
talking
energy
about.
dominance.
I forgot about that.
Today, the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources will hear testimony regarding the U.S. Department of Energy's implementation of these orders from President Trump. We'll receive testimony from three eminently qualified experts. They are the Honorable Theodore Garish, Assistant Secretary of Energy for Nuclear Energy, Dr. John Wagner, Director of the Idaho National Laboratory and President of Battelle Energy Alliance, and Dr. Mike Laufer, the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Kairos Power. On behalf of the committee, I welcome each of you to the committee today. For much of the past century, the United States operated from a position that most countries have never had. We had reliable energy. It allowed American industry to thrive. It allowed the economy to grow. It gave the United States a level of independence that few nations enjoy. Whenever that advantage has slipped, the consequences have been immediate. In the 1970s, supply disruption drove prices up and gave foreign producers leverage. Decisions made overseas began to overshape outcomes at home more than they had previously. Now, for the first time in decades, we're confronting some of those same pressures again. The question is no longer how we use energy, it's whether we have enough of it. Data centers are not going to wait. Advanced manufacturing is not slowing down. The systems driving artificial intelligence don't just scale down when power is scarce. They go to where the electricity is. If we cannot meet that demand here, it will be met somewhere else. We can be sure of that. Because when energy tightens, everything
Sarah.
downstream follows. This requires constant, large-scale, reliable energy. And that is where nuclear energy comes in. So today we're examining whether the United States is moving quickly enough to deploy the next generation of nuclear technologies. What has long been a stable and essential part of our energy mix is becoming central to whether we can meet this demand at all. We're already seeing energy-intensive industries turn toward nuclear as a long-term solution. Russia and China both understand this. They're building reactors at scale, they're financing and exporting them across the world, they're locking in fuel supply arrangements that tie countries to their technology and their influence for decades. To put it bluntly, energy will determine the global balance of power for the next generation. And if we hesitate now, we will not just fall behind, we'll be operating inside a system defined by others, dependent on supply chains and standards that we didn't write. That is not a position of strength, and it's not a position that the United States can accept. So the question before us is no longer whether nuclear energy will play a role in our future. It's how much capacity we can build and how quickly we can build it. Recognizing that urgency, President Trump issued 4 executive orders last May to elevate the American energy industry to the next level. These orders build on previous work that's been done in Congress, bipartisan work that's been done on some of these issues. They focus on modernizing the regulatory framework, accelerating reactor testing, enabling deployment for national security applications, and rebuilding the domestic nuclear industrial base. At least 3 test reactors will achieve criticality by July 4th of this year. A micro-reactor will be deployed at a military installation by 2028. 10 new large reactors will be under construction by 2030. The Department of Energy has already begun implementing these directives, including standing up new programs and expanding the use of existing authorities. In coordination with Idaho National Laboratory, it has rolled out initiatives such as the reactor and fuel line pilot programs to support advanced reactor development and deployment. Today's hearing provides an opportunity to examine that execution, assess programs, identify remaining barriers that we still face, and determine what additional actions may be necessary to ensure that the United States leads in nuclear energy technology. We're joined by witnesses who are directly involved in implementing and advancing these efforts, and I look forward to hearing from them. I now recognize my friend and colleague, the ranking member, Senator Heinrich, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome to our witnesses, Mr. Garish, Mr. Wagner, and Mr. Laufer. Today we'll talk about the Department of Energy's implementation of President Trump's executive orders on nuclear energy. And I'd like to start by just acknowledging the work Congress has done to support the growth of the U.S. nuclear energy sector. Congress has routinely affirmed the importance of nuclear energy as a key solution to meeting our national energy needs. The broad deployment of nuclear and renewable power together can foster a grid that is both reliable and affordable for Americans. And at a time when customers' energy bills are being driven upward by tariffs, by the war in Iran, and project delays and cancellations caused by the Secretary of Interior, we need to add large energy sources to the grid as fast as possible. Nuclear power especially has many valuable attributes that can help meet the energy and resource demands of artificial intelligence in an economically and environmentally responsible way. We'll hear today about efforts to advance new technologies that use novel coolants that could significantly reduce the water usage of new power plants. And we'll hear about the department's efforts to help innovate, validate, and demonstrate technologies that can one day help serve the industrial and defense sectors. These are outcomes that Congress has long sought to catalyze. For the past several years, Congress has repeatedly passed bipartisan legislation to advance nuclear energy in the United States. This committee has supported multiple bills to accelerate the development of domestic supply chains for nuclear fuel and to enhance nuclear energy innovation. The Nuclear Energy Innovation and Capabilities Act directed the DOE to assess its ability to authorize, host, and oversee privately funded advanced nuclear test reactors at the national labs or other DOE sites. The Energy Act of 2020 authorized DOE to develop a program to support the production of advanced nuclear fuels. The Nuclear Fuel Security Act expanded those DOE efforts to support the domestic supply for low-enriched uranium fuel. And the ADVANCE Act directed the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to strengthen its workforce, develop responsible yet efficient licensing schedules, and fast-track processes for existing sites. The members of this committee have repeatedly supported America's civilian nuclear industry, and I'm pleased to have our witnesses here to update us on these efforts. However, achieving our shared goals will rely on responsible implementation by the executive branch. Frankly, this is an area in which I would love to have greater confidence. I believe the U.S. nuclear industry needs greater confidence in the administration's policies on nuclear energy. In the same year that the President signed the executive orders that we are discussing today, he also sought a budget that would have reduced funding for the Office of Nuclear Energy by over $400 million. A reduction that would have surely impaired the department's ability to execute on these important activities. And while the department's rhetoric on nuclear energy has been strongly supportive, it has not always been clear whether this support extends to the whole of the industry or just those most familiar with the White House and members of its inner circle. I've said before that right now the U.S. grid needs every electron it can get. We need to make energy affordable again in this country. Doing so requires supporting early innovation to accelerate breakthrough technologies. This applies both to new reactor technologies, but also to examining the fuel cycle. In October, I introduced a bill with Senator Cruz titled the Advancing Research in Nuclear Fuel Recycling Act, which would have the department study pathways to advance innovative nuclear fuel recycling technologies. Such pathways could provide a solution for harnessing the used fuel that is currently stored at 121 sites across the United States. These technologies could provide additional nuclear fuel streams and enhance the resilience of our domestic energy infrastructure. And I soon plan to introduce the WIP Economic Assistance Reauthorization Act, which would continue economic support for communities that host nuclear waste and support our national security activities. I'm hopeful that this committee will have the opportunity to further discuss these issues and consider legislative proposals to promote U.S. nuclear innovation. I'll close by adding that addressing energy affordability also requires promoting certainty. In the case of nuclear, that includes certainty of safety, of regulatory process, and of the department's role under the law. The Department of Energy can be a tremendous partner
morning,
to the private
Iceland.
sector and to the states. Today, we'll hear specific examples of how. These insights will emphasize how successful implementation of nuclear energy.
This morning we're learning about how our administration is going to fuck up nuclear. Just so you know, this was a hearing held yesterday about the oversight of these executive orders that the president issued last year around nuclear energy. And so we're seeing how the Department of Energy has implemented on those EOs in this hearing. And I mean, there's no possible way these guys could fuck up nuclear, right? I mean, I think everything should be fine. No. So yeah, I think I agree with Meowing that I feel like I would be less wary of nuclear energy everywhere if it weren't for the fact that we bomb people and then people would love to blow stuff up. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that's kind of it. I don't know. So yeah, don't really trust us to do this, but okay.
Policy relies on strong partnerships.
Hi, Dan.
Partnerships with states, with the NRC, and with the civilian nuclear industry. Our witnesses today have hands-on experience in how the public and private sectors can work together to propel innovation and further our country's goals. I look forward to this discussion today, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks so much, Ranking Member Heinrich. As is evident, there's a lot of interest in this area and a lot of bipartisan
Is there?
enthusiasm
Good morning.
to see these things move forward. We're going to recognize now each of our three witnesses for their opening statements. Your written statements will also be made part of the record, but we'll hear from each of you. Assistant Secretary Garish, we'll start with you.
Chairman Lee and Ranking Member Heinrich and members of the committee, thank you for the invitation to appear today. I really do appreciate the work that this committee has done over the years. I've worked with this committee on both sides of the aisle, and I'm looking forward to this year and the important steps that we need to take. The President, recognizing the importance of nuclear energy and the need to move forward, did 4 executive orders, and I'll talk today about how our objectives deal with those particular items. There are 4 areas I would like to cover briefly this morning. You have my written statement already. Number 1 is to reestablish the domestic uranium enrichment program. Number 2 is to foster new builds. 3 is to expand international exports of U.S. nuclear products. And finally, to establish a complete fuel cycle. So let me go through each of those and tell you what we are doing on each. The first is domestic enrichment.
Bitch,
This,
you have 5
when
minutes.
I first came on board, I recognized as really the biggest risk to the nuclear industry.
Okay, I'm old.
With the pending shut.
Okay, I'm old, right? I'm not young. I'm an old lady. And I mean, he's probably going to end up being my favorite person in this whole hearing, so I'm probably going to eat all these words. But first of all, I don't have any confidence that this man is going to get through all the points he needs to make in 5 minutes. So I'm calling it now that he's going to fail. Number 2, I really have a hard time. I don't know. I don't want him to be the one to tell us what we're going to do. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I'm sorry. I want younger scientists. Sorry. Maybe I don't. Maybe he's fine. Okay, you know what? Now I know I'm going to end up loving him. Damn it.
Cut off of the
Really
Russian
fuck this up all the
imports.
time.
That meant that we were losing 3.5 million SWUs, separative work units, which was roughly 23% of our total production. When I had last held this job in the 80s, the U.S. had 70% of the domestic market. But now we had just a very small share and much was imported. We then had to deal with, how do we reestablish the domestic industry? Congress passed the very important
No three-eyed Simpsons
enrichment
fish
bill,
emoji. Damn it.
providing very good funding for that possibility, and that was approximately
Honey, is
4
that
years
Max or
ago.
honey?
And one of the first tasks I took on was to establish what we had to do to get the domestic industry back. and building capacity. We made awards for 3 companies to do that in the U.S., and I believe that we will be able, within the time frame of the next couple of years, be able to have a very viable domestic uranium enrichment industry. If we still encounter some gap, we do have the authority from the President's executive orders under the Defense Production Act to take other steps as necessary. But I think the way we're currently operating, we should be able to have a sufficient domestic supply to meet the gap. The second area of very important to us is new starts. And there are a number of areas that we have, and one is really the DOE programs, and that begins with the Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program, ARDP. Very large sums of money have been contributed in public-private partnerships, and we have 2 companies, TerraPower and X-Energy, that have received substantial funds in public-private partnership to get the advanced reactor business moving. We have a ways to go, and additional funds were appropriated this year, which we are in the process of now awarding to the companies. Secondly, we have the Gen 3 Plus program, which is to deal right now with potentially small
Sorry, the TerraPower caught my brain. TerraPower is the Bill Gates project, by the way. I just wanted to mention that, which we'll talk about these as we start to learn more about what the fuck we're doing when it comes to. But yeah, the TerraPower is Bill Gates. So I don't know. I want to know how that makes you feel, but that's just what it is. So there you go.
modular reactors, and we have made awards, one to TVA and GE, and another to Holtec. And those are very important programs to get the SMR program moving forward. In addition to that, there's a number of other programs that we are looking at. And one of them is how do we get reactors started in the U.S.? And as you know, the Commerce Department has many programs, and I think that there will be some announcements beginning today from the Japanese tariff money that will be help this process to get started. And then probably the next very important project is the pilot projects that we have in Idaho, and those are very interesting projects. They're very small reactors. These are micros. When I first saw the executive order, which indicated that the president wanted from scratch at least 3 reactors critical by July 4th, our 250th anniversary of the United States, I couldn't imagine how that was going to be possible. We sent out requests for applicants, and we received 11. And out of that 11, it appears as if at least 3 or 4 will be able to meet that deadline, and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to have these reactors operating this year. Other reactors that were also in the program are going to be also active a little bit later in the year, but that's going to move forward very, very well. A lot of people say, why pilots? In other words, why is this important? Well, to me, what this indicates is the enthusiasm that the U.S. can get reactors in operation, and this has been a very exciting program for us, and I think it's going to lead to other activities going forward. The other thing that is important is that out of the 4 reactors, we now have a safety analysis on these 4, and they're very likely to go forward in that date. 2 of them have future lives already. One of them for potential military establishment, and another in a foreign country that is very interested in this particular reactor. So we already have life of these reactors moving forward into the future, which is very, very important. The next area is international, and I just want to speak about that briefly. In the first Trump administration, I was very fortunate to be able to do intergovernmental agreements, and 2 of them that were important to us was one with Poland and one with Romania. The Polish one was for 6 reactors, And that process has now started. They've done the initial feed studies, and there are 3 have been contracted with the government for Westinghouse to proceed. That is a very important program, and what we are doing now is trying to also help the Polish regulator with the process of establishing those reactors and getting them into operation. In addition, now we have
Honey says, is he like the real life Monty Burns? Oh, wait. Where's my. Wait, hold on. I didn't do my job here. Hold on. Are you awake? Or you're gone? You might be gone already. I don't even know if my daughter left the house or not. I should make sure. But anyway, so first of all, it probably is. Hi, Sharon Gray. How are you? Stephanie, don't worry about it. We totally understand. So I don't feel great about us rushing this. And there's a lot. There's a lot to be considered, you know, in terms of all the money that's going into nuclear right now. And so it's a little daunting. It's a little, especially given who's in charge of all of this, right? Doug Burgum, Chris, what's his name? What the fuck is that guy? Chris Wright, who's the is Secretary of Energy, unbelievably, who basically said that the war would be over in a couple weeks, so just calm your tits, kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't think that I don't know if this is the group that I would trust to rush this. So yeah, and there's a lot of stories I'm pulling up around this. Like Meta is going to buy a startup nuclear fuel in an unusual deal to power their AI data centers. You know, like there's just all these fucking companies, and I think I remember seeing a story about a company that had been awarded a contract which they just started. I can't recall where I saw that. Has anyone else seen that story? Yeah, they're nuclears. I don't trust them. But does anyone recall that story? It's the last couple of days that there's been. I thought there was a company that had been given some kind of contract around this energy thing, nuclear. Maybe it was something else. And they were they just created themselves like 8 days ago or something. I can't recall. I'll try and find it. I'm really mad at myself for not having that right at hand. Hi, Jane. Oh, GOP are so dumb. U.S. soft power. No. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why I really wanted to hear this, and I'm hoping that I can keep up with it because my brain doesn't really, absolutely follow this. Hanford, England. Oh, wait a minute. They're nuclear. So when they dropped the bombs on Japan, he figured that must have been what they were working on since it was so secret. Getting shot down is serious. I'm not sure what my dad was in World War II, and he was in the Air Force. He said they were not allowed to fly over Hanford or they would get shot down. I don't know what that means. And which administration's beginning rid of... Yeah, exactly. This is just not the administration I would trust to do something this significant, right? And basically, they're letting the billionaires just run crazy. It's ham time. It's ham time on the billionaire playground. They're all running for their little, nuclear reactors and shit. So, yes, I think there's a lot to question. There's a lot to try to understand with what's happening with this rush. And I could definitely see a world where we regret letting them go hog wild when it comes to this. Hi, Badge. One was just approved that will be as big as Central Park. How is any of this sane? Yeah, I mean, that's actually... the fact that so much of the land in this country is about to be kind of absconded for data centers and power plants and blah, blah, blahs and blah, blah, blahs. I just think it's gross. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where we go from here, frankly.
We have
This
other
was not on
countries,
my bingo
Bulgaria and
card.
Slovakia, that are
Maybe it
also
should have
very
been.
interested in moving forward.
Right.
And what we would like to do, and we have a program that we're going to establish at the department to help these foreign countries with their certification so that we can, at all possible, not have to go through the same licensing rigor that we do in those countries to move forward. And the Polish government has indicated an interest in doing this. It would be my view that what we would do for the U.S. is we would sell not only the products, but we would sell the regulatory structure that they came from, which would help expedite the process. And that is moving forward very well, and we're going to make progress this year. Finally, the last issue is completing the fuel cycle and promoting industrialization. I think a lot has changed since 1982 when the Nuclear Waste Policy Act was first enacted. What we did at that time, and Yucca Mountain was an example, we would take used nuclear fuel that was 5% used, and we would bury it in its entirety. And I tell people it's like buying a new car at a dealership, taking the car, driving it for 8,000 miles, and then taking it to the junkyard and not using it again. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We've got a lot of energy in the fuel, and we have a number of companies that have come to us and said that they wanted in the private sector to recycle these products and make them usable and saleable into the marketplace. This is a very interesting idea which sort of changes the equation as to how we move forward. The second thing that has happened is the need for industrialization of this community. The thing that is amazing when you look at, if you take all parts of the nuclear process, starting with conversion, enrichment, deconversion, fuel fab, recycling, and advanced manufacturing, and then couple that with the possibility of data centers and additional reactors, if co-located, can save substantial money and be a very viable product for the future. This has led us to ask the states if they were interested in competing and requesting the ability to be designated as an area for this industrialization. Interestingly, we've had 24 states get back to us with interest, and I would say that there were 12 to 15 that were very serious, and probably 4 or 5 that have very serious proposals before us now. They will be provided to us by the April 1st, and we will very quickly after that determine which one.
Oh my fucking God. This guy is the Assistant Secretary for Nuclear Energy. This fossil, this fucking fossil is the Assistant Secretary for Nuclear Energy. What? Oh my God. Okay.
Ones are viable.
Whoa, Ted,
go out
you
and
better
see
be
these
fucking
and see if we
sharp
can
as a
begin the
motherfucking
process
tack, bitch.
of sort of
Oh my God.
revigorizing the whole process of the fuel cycle and make sure that we can use these materials. The final fuel stream is substantially less than what we were anticipating at Yucca Mountain. So this is a major change in how we would approach this, but this is a very positive development and very well received by the public. So these are the real issues that I see before us. With the President's executive orders, I see a tremendous enthusiasm for nuclear that I have not seen before. And right now, what we need to do most of all is basically seize the moment and really capitalize on this enthusiasm and, to the extent possible, get shovels in the ground. And I look forward to working with this
Well, it's
committee
probably
on
the whole
these
thing,
very
Sharon, 'cause
complicated
it's the
problems,
reactors.
many of which are going
Mini
to require
react, small
legislation.
modular, et
And so
cetera.
this would be a cooperative effort. The unique thing about this industry is this is a bipartisan effort, and we've had tremendous cooperation between both the Republicans and Democrats. So I'm looking forward to a bright 3 years for the rest of the administration to see if we can make progress. Thank you very much for the opportunity to appear today.
Thanks so much, Assistant Secretary Garish. Now we'll hear now from Director Wagner.
Chairman Lee, Ranking Member Heinrich, and members of the committee, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I also want to thank you for all the work that you've done on these topics and the work that you will do. My name is John Wagner, and I am the director of the Idaho National Laboratory, the nation's Center for Nuclear Energy Research and Development. As you both mentioned in your opening remarks, we stand at an unprecedented inflection point in American nuclear energy. For the first time in decades, market forces, national security imperatives, and federal policies have achieved remarkable alignment. The question no longer is whether America needs nuclear energy, as a question that Senator Lee mentioned. It's how much, how quickly, and how to make it happen. And that's exactly why the 4 executive orders that the President signed are so important, because they address those very questions. Speaking from the perspective of Idaho National Laboratory, I want to say this call for action did not find us unprepared. Executive Order 14301 states that the Idaho National Laboratory has principal responsibility for constructing and testing new reactor designs. At the laboratory, we embrace that role enthusiastically, and with partners, we are executing on it. So let me tell you a little bit about what that looks like. Our dome, repurposed from the historic EBR-2 facility, will be complete and ready for its first demonstration reactor by the end of this month. Construction was accelerated by nearly a year specifically to meet the executive orders. Radiant's Kairos reactor is the first system scheduled to be installed beginning next month. Our reactor and critical experiment facility, we refer to that as RACE, will support defense and space reactor systems, including Antares reactor experiments. Marvel, our 85-kilowatt DOE test reactor, received approval for its preliminary documented safety analysis just this month and is targeting initial criticality later this year. Marvel, for us, is not just a reactor, it's a proof of process, restoring institutional capability and new reactor authorization that had atrophied over decades without new builds. Under the reactor pilot program established by Executive Order 14301, DOE selected 10 companies and 11 projects. INL is providing direct technical support to multiple participants in that program. Companies like ALO and Oklo broke ground at INL for their reactors last fall. To address the expanding needs of this moment, we've established the Nuclear Energy Launchpad, a 2,000-plus acre site at the laboratory with options for other locations as well, dedicated to enabling privately funded advanced nuclear prototypes. So think first-of-kind reactors, enrichment, fuel fabrication, recycling, and other emerging nuclear technologies. When the executive orders were signed, most people, including myself, were skeptical that 3 reactors could achieve criticality by July 4th. I am no longer skeptical. I am optimistic we will see it happen. And with the full adherence to the gold standard of safety and security that the American public expects. I want to talk about Executive Order 14302, directed action across the full fuel cycle. And INL has a critical role to play there too. The Fuel Line pilot program selected 5 companies for domestic fuel fabrication. INL provides direct technical support, leveraging our unique capabilities at our materials and fuels complex.
What about the nuclear waste?
Today we are...
Thank you, Stephanie. I have a lot to learn about this. Absolutely guarantee. And Goodman says, we're so lucky over in Iceland. All of our energy is geothermal and hydropower, and it's cheap. And it's probably not as bad on the environment as what we're about to do, because I'm going to guarantee you the fact that he said they saved a year in the process of building out this thing that's going to go live at the end of the month. Are you kidding me? They cut a year out of that? Now, you know what that means? Yeah. You know what that means? What that means is that corners have been cut. And the work that this administration has done to eliminate and reduce the regulations that protect the environment, that protect us, so to speak, by design. Can you imagine that all of those, can you imagine that if they needed to cut a year off of the process, that it would have been easy to do? Oh, no, I bet it is clean. No, I bet it is. I think it's, but I'm going to tell you right now, I have so little confidence in this regime. I would not have confidence in any regime to do this, but I would have more confidence if it were a more thoughtful, science-based kind of group. This is not a regime that values science and safety. They don't. In fact, if people die as a result of what they do, that's a benefit because they decrease the surface population. More for me. That's what these guys think. If people die, more for me. Really, I mean, they do. I dare anyone to. I challenge anyone to deny that. They literally don't care. They really don't. It's actually a benefit to have less like humans to have to support or listen to. And my God, if they could just do their nuclear reactor and didn't have to worry about people and farms, they could just go to town. Hi, Sharon Brown. So, yeah, I have very little confidence that this is the group that I would trust to do this level of project, especially given that it does have, lasting consequences if they fuck it up. RFK Jr. will show us how to clean it by swimming in the waste. Oh, that's why he wears the jeans. Okay.
We're recycling
Makes sense.
highly
makes
enriched used fuel from our experimental breeder reactor 2.
What are we going to do with the waste?
Downblending it.
Wait a minute. Can I ask that question? Because Oomph brought it up. Yucca Mountain used to be the waste repository. So what happens, and Stephanie said the waste, what happens with the waste from all these small modular reactors? Am I missing something? Is there not waste in a small modular reactor? I'm asking. I don't actually know the answer to the question. Yeah, the cold plunge in jeans. I think we should send him in to do it and test it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to convince RFK that wearing jeans inside a pool of toxic sludge is what he needs to do to prove to the American people that nuclear's safe. That's it. That's it. Perfect. This is perfect, actually. I think this is a great idea.
To high-assay LEU or HALEU.
I've got to do some.
And providing that fuel for Oklow's first core for their reactor and possibly others. We are also developing advanced processes to recycle other used fuels, providing additional domestic feedstock while commercial production scales up. Our work extends across all 4 executive orders and a wide spectrum of companies and federal partners. I want to also say INL is also harnessing AI to accelerate implementation under DOE's Genesis mission. Our goal with our Prometheus project is to demonstrate an autonomous reactor designed, analyzed, manufactured, and operated by AI with minimal human intervention. Our project Vulcan is working to compress materials discovery and qualification timelines from decades to years. Early results show these AI tools have already more than doubled our development speed for key tasks. So these are not future promises. These are things that are happening today. But as we all know, challenges remain, and your continued support is essential. In my opinion, we need to build new commercial power reactors at scale, and we need to get started now. I look forward to announcements in the coming days. We need to continue building our domestic fuel cycle capabilities, which was mentioned. The fuel cycle remains a crucial vulnerability, and no commercial-scale HALEU production exists outside of Russia and China. We need continued progress on regulatory efficiency, although we have seen good progress there. And we need to update the Nuclear Waste Policy Act.
You want to know what that means? That regulations have been struck down. That's what that means, John Wagner from the Idaho National Laboratory. You fucking asshole. You fucking cuck. You fucking Doug Burgum simp, I imagine. Yeah, Dark is great. I've been watching series Dark and just getting into nuclear meltdown crap and this. I haven't seen that. What do you guys all know about this show? I don't know about it. No. Remember when Trump at Doge tried to defund Pantex and Amarillo that processes? No, I don't remember that. And this is a great question. Here's my question. Do SMR SMR failure models differ from those of normal-sized reactors? I don't know. In the dark. Oh, I want to watch that. Yeah, they stuffed all the nuclear waste into a cave. Oh, I want to watch it. Oh, that sounds like fun. Sounds like everybody's been having fun and without me.
which reflects priorities from 4 decades ago. In closing, the executive order set an ambitious course. INL has a critical role, and we're executing with urgency, with rigor, and with an uncompromising commitment to safety. We are grateful for this committee's leadership in building the policy foundation, and we look forward to
Uncompromising until we get to the point where, regulations have been struck down. I mean, compromising in that we want all the regulations away.
continued partnership. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thanks so much, Director
It's
Wagner.
a time travel show.
We'll hear now from you, Mr. Lawford.
Chairman Lee, Ranking Member Heinrich, and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify, and thank you for the bipartisan engagement and support.
Josh says, you know what else is underground? Our water. Oh my God, we're so fucked. We are so fucked. We have fucking F Troop doing our nuclear shit. Now, I'm sure there's great scientists. Don't get me wrong. I have total confidence, I guess, in the scientists. I guess. Oh, man. I
Of advanced nuclear energy. My name is Mike Laufer. I'm the
I'll be
CEO
right back.
and co-founder of Kairos Power, an advanced
this is
nuclear engineering
Kairos,
and
okay.
manufacturing company headquartered in California with manufacturing operations in New Mexico and a reactor demonstration campus in Tennessee. Kairos is a Greek word meaning the right or opportune moment. That is where our nation stands today. The U.S. faces a pivotal moment as electricity demand surges due to AI, data centers, and reshored American manufacturing. The executive order signaled the urgency of the investments needed to meet this demand. As a nation, we must ensure that our energy supply is reliable, affordable, and secure. To meet these goals, it is vital that nuclear energy rise to meet its full potential. Kairos Power grew out of a research effort led by the Department of Energy, universities, and national laboratories to establish the technical basis for commercially attractive reactors using molten salt coolant. As the first advanced reactor mover with NRC construction permits and the only nuclear facility under active NRC-regulated construction, we're happy to serve as the industry voice here today. In less than a decade, Kairos Power has matured to a company with more than 550 employees across multiple states, all singularly focused on bringing safe and affordable nuclear energy to the U.S. electricity market as quickly as possible. Our fluoride side-cooled high-temperature reactor pairs TRISO fuel with molten salt coolant. This hybrid design ensures robust inherent safety at low pressure, simplifying the footprint of safety-related systems and reducing capital costs. Building on the molten salt pioneering legacy at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, with a focus on de-risking project delivery, we utilize an iterative design, build, and test approach that mitigates the risks that have hindered many past nuclear builds. We are validating our technology and delivery strategy through a series of non-nuclear engineering test units that demonstrate our reactor systems at prototypic scale. In this effort, we are training our nuclear workforce with real experience running the largest molten salt systems ever built and operated. Our engineering test unit series is followed by our 2 demonstration reactors in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Hermes, a low-power reactor now under construction, and Hermes 2, a 50-megawatt demonstration plant. Our goal is for Hermes 2 to be the first commercial-scale Gen 4 reactor to supply power to the U.S. grid. Kairos Power has made significant investments in establishing in-house manufacturing, testing, construction, and other critical capabilities to accelerate this process. This approach continuously builds on the lessons from our non-nuclear test program and our demonstration reactors to enable fleet deployment.
That makes perfect sense, Meowing. She says the dangers are only reduced in the impact zone of a meltdown, being smaller, but they are also, by nature of nuclear physics, less efficient and thus require more fuel per output. And what about and in terms of like the nuclear waste that comes out of them? I mean, I'm curious. One thing that brings to mind is when you have multiple small modular reactors, what's the anticipation of the level that of nuclear waste that will be generated as these businesses and the data centers really come online? So I wonder about that. Does that make sense to you? Like, Yeah, exactly. Even more nuclear waste and fuel rods, more nuclear. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is like just by extension, because and the vision is that there are many of these, right? Like I mean, thousands of these. They're, like almost every business has its own nuclear reactor kind of vision, right? Obviously, they won't. Hi, J Rants. But I just have rods like traditional. I don't know. So I find it interesting because have we really anticipated how much waste will be if we know or can estimate the number of SMRs that will exist at a future point, let's say in 3 years, okay? Like in 3 years, if you have X number of small modular reactors, has anyone, and I imagine they have, I would imagine that they would look at the waste that will be produced from the sheer number of modular reactors and just how much of an increase in nuclear waste that would be for this country. I don't know. I feel like there's a whole lot of, I'm sure there are people that are talking about these things. I'm not sure. But I just wonder, a simple stand-in. Oh, okay. Meowing, you probably know the history of the salt licks in Michigan and the woolly mammoth graveyard that was bulldozed over. So sad. It would have been a cool sight to see. How do you secure such a large number of facilities? Well, I think that, how do you secure them? Well, that's a good question, too. I would imagine there would be security protocols and regulations, right? So that companies who are doing this, like Meta is, for example, working with Oklos to build this huge SMR for their data center in Ohio or something like that, right? So I would imagine that Meta has to, as part of building that SMR, would have to figure out how to secure and all that kind of stuff. That's right. We're going to put ice there. Oh, that's it. That's it. Some people might be shot on their way to work, but it's a price you pay for clean energy. Yeah.
For our first customers, Google and the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Rent-a-cops. That's right.
Our commercial agreement with Google is the first nuclear
God.
contract to include multiple advanced reactor deployments. Hermes 2 is the first reactor to be built under this agreement, and our contract with TVA is the first ever nuclear power purchase agreement. Through the combination of our development approach and commercial agreements, we have established a credible pathway to establish cost certainty in our reactors, the proficiency and discipline to build and operate nuclear systems, and confidence in our ability to deliver future commercial plants on time and on budget, which this industry desperately needs. Kairos Power is grateful and appreciates the support of the Department of Energy's Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program. To date, Kairos Power has received $125 million from DOE under our novel milestone-based technology investment agreement. Modeled after the incredibly successful Commercial Orbital Transportation Services program from NASA, this agreement ties our federal funding to clearly defined, objectively verifiable milestones. This means that Kairos Power is only paid when we deliver results that matter. Use of this contract structure allows Kairos Power to remain agile while ensuring accountability and efficiency for DOE as it administers the strategic investment of taxpayer dollars. I would make the case that DOE's strategic investment in Kairos Power has provided the most value per taxpayer dollar to advance nuclear power in the U.S. based on the tangible progress we have made across technical, regulatory, construction, and commercial fronts over the past 5 years. If I have the opportunity to deliver one message today, it is to urge this committee to enable and encourage the expanded use of milestone-based strategic investments by DOE to support Kairos Power and others in the industry to meet the vital call to action that this moment demands. The message from Washington is unambiguous. Nuclear energy is needed now. Soaring electricity demand, surging data center needs, and heightened concerns over cost, reliability, and energy independence create extraordinary opportunities. The executive orders and the continued bipartisan support from this committee represent critical federal commitments that will shape America's energy future for decades to come. Kairos Power is proud to be building that future today with you. I want to thank the committee for holding this hearing and for your continued commitment to enabling the expansion of American nuclear energy. I look forward to your questions and to working together on this mission.
Thank you very much. That concludes our opening statements. We'll now turn to 5-minute rounds of questions. I'll go first, followed by Ranking Member Heinrich. Then we'll alternate between Republicans and Democrats in order of seniority subject to the early bird rule. Mr. Garish, I'd like to start with you, if that's all right. Now, President Trump's executive orders called for advanced reactor deployments and set forth these aggressive timelines. We've had some discussion of those today already, including this July 4th target date, drawing by our 250th birthday as a country, to achieve criticality in at least 3 test reactors under DOE authorization. I'm encouraged that the Department of Energy is making full use of its existing authorities. And as I understand it, several companies are making progress under the DOE reactor and fuel line pilot program. So a couple of questions on this note. First, can you provide kind of an update on progress, on the progress of these pilot programs, and whether, to what extent, you remain on track to achieve that July 4th milestone? And second, how is the department coordinating with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to make sure that there is a transition pathway toward expedited commercial licensing?
Generally speaking, let me first say that for 4 of the reactors, we do have our preliminary safety analysis completed, and we are proceeding now to the authorization stage where we will actually determine that they are safe to begin the process and actually turn on the reactors. And that is proceeding now. So I'm hopeful that we should be able to be successful on meeting the July 4th deadline. There could be some issues that come up. On a couple of the reactors, we have questions on fuel fabrication, and we're working our way through those, and it's a matter of just ordinary manufacturing issues. There's nothing extraordinary about the problems. It's just we are problem solvers, and we're trying to get through the issues to make this work. In terms of advanced reactors, just in general, the one thing that has happened is the Congress has appropriated substantial funds for the Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program, and that is proceeding well. And we have gone through some of the first tranches of funding for both TerraPower and for X Energy. The thing that is very rewarding, I think, is to see TerraPower getting its construction license to be able to proceed in a very short period of time, 18 months. So we're making progress. You ask also about a relationship with the NRC. We are operating on our separate paths. We have our own system, and they have their own system. However, what they are doing is joining us in the process as observers. And when the company expects to go commercial, they will have conversations with them as to the licensing process at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. There's been a lot of question about the cooperativity and whether or not we are separate enough. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission issued a memorandum of guidance, which I brought today, and be happy to offer for.
Okay, this is a lot, and I want to, this is going to be something I have to read up on a lot, but I just want to note an article that I found from NPR, January 28th, 2026. It was from Morning Edition on NPR. Trump administration has secretly rewritten nuclear safety rules. From the radical conspiratorial people at NPR. The Trump administration has overhauled a set of nuclear safety directives and shared them with the companies it is charged with regulating without making the new rules available to the public, according to documents obtained exclusively by NPR. The sweeping changes were made to accelerate development of a new generation of nuclear reactor designs led by this fucking fossil. They occurred over the fall and winter at the Department of Energy, which has overseen a program to build at least 3 new experimental commercial nuclear reactors by July 4th. The changes are to departmental orders, which dictate requirements for almost every aspect of the reactor's operations, including safety systems, environmental protections, site security, and accident investigations. NPR obtained copies of over a dozen of the new orders, none of which is publicly available. The orders slash hundreds of pages of requirements for security at the reactors. They also loosen protections for groundwater and the environment and eliminate at least one key safety rule. The new orders cut back on requirements for keeping records, and they raise the amount of radiation a worker can be exposed to before an official accident investigation is triggered. Over 750 pages were cut from the earlier versions of the same orders, according to NPR's analysis, leaving only about 1/3 of the number of pages in the original documents. And they have them. I'll link this. Oh, yeah, they do a great analysis. Oh, boy, they do a really good. The new generation of nuclear reactor designs, known as small modular reactors, are being backed by billions in private equity, venture capital, and public investment. Backers of the reactors, including tech giants Amazon, Google, and Meta, have said that they want the reactors to one day supply cheap, reliable power for artificial intelligence. Outside experts who helped review the rules for NPR criticized the decision to revise them without any public knowledge. I would argue that the Department of Energy relaxing its nuclear safety and security standards in secret is not the best way to engender the kind of public trust that's going to be needed for nuclear to succeed more broadly, said Christopher Hansen, who chaired the Nuclear Regulatory Commission from 2021 to 2025 when he was fired by Dump. They're taking a wrecking ball to the system of nuclear safety and security regulation oversight that has kept the U.S. from having another 3 Mile Island accident, said Edwin Lyman, Director of Nuclear Power Safety at the Union of Concerned Scientists. I am absolutely worried about the safety of these reactors. In a lengthy statement to NPR, the Department of Energy defended the changes. The reduction of unnecessary regulations will increase innovation in the industry without jeopardizing safety. And then they did that. It is said that the early copies of the new rules were shared with companies as part of an iterative effort to develop a regulatory framework that would expedite our review process while maintaining safety and security standards. You know, you can say that all you want. You can fucking say that all you fucking want. But that means to me that you absolutely are not going to maintain safety and security standards. That is literally the last thing you're going to do. And the fact that you would go to the wolves to ask them how to design the hen house is absolutely bonkers bananas. The orders seen by NPR were not marked as drafts and had the word approved clearly displayed on their cover pages. The department anticipates publicly posting the directives later this year, it said in its statement. In May of last year, Dump signed a series of executive orders, which we're talking about. It's a hot industry. It's a brilliant industry. You have to do it right. He raped children. Nothing this man says has any bearing whatsoever. Among the executive orders Dump signed that day was one that called for the creation of a new program at the Department of Energy to build experimental reactors. The document he signed explicitly stated that the Secretary shall approve at least 3 reactors pursuant to this pilot program with the goal of achieving nuclear criticality in each of the 3 reactors by July 4th, 2026. Hooty hoo hoo. I'm going to link that in the chat. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Of course. I voted for the lady that laughed too much. Oh my God. Here we go. Na 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 na. Yeah, insert glow in the dark joke here. Let's see. The metallic and salt waste Karen is mentioning is from different forms of coolant systems, heat transfer. A lot of nuclear waste is not the fuel rods, but contaminated materials from exposure. Oh. Yeah, they're so dedicated, aren't they, Jane? The most incompetent pay-to-play management of Earth's future possible. Yep. How do I find new ways to load them? I don't even know. I don't have any. There's no more descriptors, right, J Rance? There's just not enough descriptors for what I am feeling and what we have. Yeah. I mean, come on. Did we watch Hegseth freaking out about Joe Kent yesterday, or maybe I watched a standalone video? He seemed nervous. Oh, I don't know. No, we didn't watch it, so I hadn't seen that. Esmeralda, good morning. Don't know if Japan trade deal came up here March 19th. PM Takaichi announced a $73 billion tranche for the next generation nuclear reactors. That's the project. Esmeralda, that is the project I was talking about. Oh, yes. Okay, it didn't come up, but it kind of did because it was mentioned, and I think that, oh, who was it? Somebody linked a document. I bet you it's in my fucking articles. Hold on. I bet you I have it in my articles because there is a document about a project that's coming out of that Japan agreement. Esmeralda, you're brilliant. You are brilliant. This is such a group effort, this show. Japan nuclear reactor contract. Because that's one of the businesses that just that just like this company just started or something ridiculous. Man, Tennessee is fucked. Can I just tell you that? Between Elmo and his Grok XAI outside of Memphis and everything else that's happening, and the Tennessee Valley Authority, agreeing to all this nuclear shit, because the Tennessee Valley Authority is one of the groups that's really like, okay, oh yeah, test it on us. Well, that's what they're doing. So Tennessee, I think you need to think about where you live, and maybe we need to find a safe place for Tennesseans, because this is not safe. It's already not safe in Tennessee, and it's going to become a lot unsafer. And they're doing it in Tennessee and Alabama. In Tennessee and fucking Alabama. Two poor states with a high level of poverty. This is so gross to me. If people really cared about the Midwest, okay, then they'd fucking stop this using places like Tennessee and Indiana and other places as fucking testing grounds for really big bullshit. Anyway, I'll find that company because there was a story about a company that was part of this Japan deal that is very sketchy, basically. I gotta find it, though. Shit. Okay, I'll find it. Yeah, Japan, there's a story from The Economist. I don't subscribe to The Economist, unfortunately, but there's a story about Japan's return to nuclear reactors as well, which is really interesting given Fukushima. Is it Fukushima or Fukuyama? Fukuyama. I don't know. It's so scary. Let's see. I know Tennessee is beautiful. Tennessee is absolutely beautiful. Tennessee is absolutely beautiful. Let's see. LOL. If my mom tells me I'm not going to say something to anyone else, it means she's going to tell the next 6 people. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The Palisades reactor in Michigan is being brought back online with plans for 2 SMRs on site as well. I'm going to tell you, like Fukushima. Thank you so much, Dan. God, I really could not remember the name. But yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm kind of surprised. I don't know much about Takaichi. I don't know if she's, MAGA or something like that. Maybe she's more MAGA. I don't know. I have no idea. But I would think that the Japanese people would have a lot to say about, accelerated nuclear, whatever. All right, we're back to fossils. Here we go.
For the record, which really lays out the very different methodologies and how the two work together. In other words, one of the things that the NRC will do is they will be observers in our process. what I have urged our people and we're doing at the lab, and that is when the NRC has additional information that they think that is useful, I am urging us to provide that information to them in the process. So this has been a fairly successful program back and forth between the two agencies. There are approximately 12 people from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission that have been assigned now in detail to us to work under our program.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and we'll receive that, and without objection, that'll be admitted into the record. Dr. Wagner, can you elaborate a little bit on the recommendations that have been made in this area and on your on why the current authorization framework falls short and why you believe Congress needs to clarify and expand the Department of Energy's authority in this area?
Yes, I'd like to. So first of all, I'd like to be clear on something. The intent here of what I'm suggesting the Congress consider is not to circumvent the Nuclear Regulatory Commission or to undermine its commercial licensing role in any way. The NRC remains the right body for commercial reactor licensing, and nothing we're proposing changes that. So I want to be real clear on that. What we are asking is for some clarity around what we consider a statutory gap, particularly in Section 202, related to the definition and the carve-out of demonstration nuclear reactors. The details are in my written testimony. Because that language can be interpreted in different ways. It is being interpreted in different ways, such that it could be interpreted that even private company reactors on a national laboratory would fall under NRC, because it can be interpreted that any reactor is really being developed and demonstrated ultimately for commercial purposes, and that's what we do. So clarifying that. Separately, we are seeking the committee to consider expanding that to be clear that if DOE is demonstrating a reactor for their mission space and something unique related to that, like a first of kind, for example, demonstrating the pairing of a small nuclear reactor with a data center and demonstrating how to manage those loads, that could be also considered under DOE authorization. There's also some ambiguity related to the Department of Defense authorities and applications that we'd ask the committee to take a look at. And so I understand there's a lot of details here that matter, but that's my short answer on that.
Turns out there are some details involved in nuclear energy and in the law related to it. Ranking Member Heinrich.
Thanks, Chairman. I want to start with you, Dr. Loffer. I want to ask you to sort of go a little deeper into the milestone-based cost approach that you outlined in terms of contracting.
Oh my God,
and
Sarah, that's so scary. What do the data centers do? They power AI. They power AI and crypto, but they power AI for these companies, basically. So as these companies want to create data centers that are, like, for example, Grok in Memphis, right outside of Memphis, there's a Grok XAI farm. And, why? And they have, like, these huge wind turbines, I guess, inside their plant to cool down whatever is computing in there, right? And these turbines create incredible, like, noise pollution and other things that are literally making people in the traditionally poor suburbs that are outside of Memphis, like I believe a town named Boxtown was included in that, because these large power, these basic little factories, AI factories or data, whatever, create environmental hazards all around. They don't produce anything. I'm just not. So right now people are suffering outside of Memphis, Tennessee. People are suffering and have been suffering at the hands of these data centers. I'm sure the same thing is happening in Texas. I'm sure the same thing is happening wherever else they are. What are we doing, Badger? That's a really good fucking question. So, yeah, store, process, manage digital information, right, all that. So, yeah, it's AI slop. It's so chuds can write really bad songs about each other. I don't know. It's really weird. Okay. It's so that old men can create AI women to dance for them and tell them what they want to hear. That's literally why we're here. Is because men want to they realize they can't dominate anymore, so they have to create AI bots to talk sexy to them. Literally. That's why we're here. It's so stupid. Yeah, we are democracy, Dino. Yeah, exactly. I'm a dinosaur because I don't want this. There you go. Josh says, years ago I did some rough math on the area of the medians and setbacks of the interstate highways, and we filled it with solar panels. It would cover 80% of our needs, and it's already a grid. No, apparently, Josh, we can't do things that make sense. I don't know what you're talking about. Data center investment is powering the market. It sure is, Dan. Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Oh my God in heaven. Actually, I have the article about the firm. So you know what? Do I read it? I'm gonna read it. I don't know. I'm not doing this show the best I've ever done, but that's okay. We'll get there. All right. I want to show you this. Okay. This is an article from Daily Beast from February of this year. Tiny Trump-linked firm in line for $25 billion nuclear deal. What could go wrong? The fledgling company has close ties to Trump donors, but has never completed a nuclear project. I think this is part of the thing that is in the nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Ooh, something. If you want to be with me. Although if solar panels were near the highways, wouldn't someone have to clean the smog dust off them? I don't know. We could probably have a robot do that. Let's get a robot to do that. Okay, a newly created energy company with deep ties to Trump donors is reportedly in the running for a $25 billion nuclear contract. The firm, Entra One Energy, has yet to bring in a single nuclear project to completion, employs fewer than 5 people, and appears to operate from a WeWork co-working space in Houston, Texas, according to Politico. Yet, it was shortlisted last October in a partnership with NuScale, a publicly traded nuclear company with a market value exceeding $4 billion, to build new energy infrastructure using a slice of the $550 billion Japan pledged to the Trump administration to avoid the tariffs. Wall Street analyst Joe Osha of Guggenheim Securities was blunt about the company's stature in comments to Politico, pushing back on NuScale's characterization of Entra One as a, quote, global energy company. Osha said, quote, in reality, it really just looks like it's a couple of guys. One of those guys, Politico reported, is Entra One CEO Wadi Habush, who traveled to Tokyo in October to pose for photos with Dump while brandishing a memorandum of understanding, making his company eligible for billions of dollars in large-scale baseload power infrastructure funding. See, when you're the friend of the president, they just give you money. Habush founded Entra One Capital on December 23, 2021, after working at the Habush Group, his family's global investment firm, since 2007. His father, R.W. Habush, who ran that firm, donated more than $2 million to Trump and Republican causes since 2017, per Politico. Oh, it's Koch Jr. The Trump connections run deeper still. One of Entra One's outside advisors, Tommy Hicks Jr., I recognize that name, who led the Republican National Committee as its co-chair from 2019 to 2023, is said to be a close friend of Koch Jr., the president's son. He describes himself on LinkedIn as an Entra One advisory board member. The New York Times reported in 2017 that Hicks and Dump Jr. had become hunting buddies. Dump also appointed Hicks to the President's Intelligence Advisory Board in February 2025. ENTRA1 told Politico that Hicks has known Habush for decades and that he is involved in the investment strategy of the company and has not played a role in securing any deals for the company. Anything to the contrary is offensive. Despite its thin profile, ENTRA1 has already secured a lucrative foothold. In September, the Tennessee Valley Authority entered into a non-binding agreement with ENTRA1 and NewScale to produce up to 6 gigawatts of electricity. No, Coke. I mean, he does Coke. Sorry. No, sorry. I should say that's right, because then that sounds like it's a Coke thing. Okay. Anyway, that deal alone triggered a $495 million payment to ENTRA1 from NewScale under the terms of a partnership milestones agreement the two companies struck the previous month, roughly 5 times what the company held in total assets as of late 2024, according to a UK regulatory filing. The pending Japanese award could be even larger. Tokyo has indicated that the funded projects could include nuclear power generation for artificial intelligence. Nuclear projects are obviously large, multi-billion-dollar, multi-year projects, extremely hard to execute, he told Politico. Generally, we see what projects they've worked on, which is missing, and that's the genesis of the questions. A White House official told Politico no funds have been officially allocated, calling the Tokyo MOU a first step of interest, and noted that any project must clear a joint U.S.-Japan consultation committee before receiving final approval from Dump. The Daily Beast has contacted ENTRA1 Energy, NewScale Power, and the White House. So that's the story about the nuclear deal with Japan, too.
Talk about how that helps you manage financial risk in these public-private partnerships and what value
makes sense, Sharon
it might
Brown.
bring to other developers as well.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. So the contract that Kairos has with DOE as part of our ARDP award is milestone-based, and it's a fixed support milestone. So there are a series of about 30 milestones in our contract. They have fixed payments. Kairos has to demonstrate that we've achieved those milestones, and then it's actually a very straightforward process of submitting the invoice through the field office at INL for processing payment. So from my perspective, it is a structure modeled off of the NASA COTS program that is very efficient, low overhead from the DOE perspective. It provides a lot of accountability. Those milestones are significant. So things like the submission of an application to the NRC. We've tried to remove subjectivity there. When we install a test vessel for our test units, those are major milestones that are easy to verify. So there's not a lot of subjectivity there. What the milestones do is they provide flexibility in how they're achieved. So, for example, we have several fuel milestones. To bring a reactor critical, we have to deliver fuel to the site, and there are few along the way in terms of production. That's unquestionable in terms of the importance. The contract and the milestones are non-specific on how we reach that. And for Kairos, we do a lot of in-house manufacturing, so we were not sure at the start of the program whether we were going to be manufacturing fuel or procuring it. The milestones are agnostic to that, so it provides flexibility. And in this case, we identified an opportunity after we were selected for the award to partner with Los Alamos National Laboratory to produce the fuel for Hermes. If we had to program that up front in the award in a conventional contract, we wouldn't have had the flexibility. We've had to pull money from other partners, other facilities to do that. So it gives us a lot of flexibility, which is very valuable, and it removes a lot of the overhead burden from conventional contracts.
It's also resulted in just a much faster development cycle, correct?
Yes, well, it works with our cycle and allows us to be agile and change plans. In particular with the national laboratories, that agility has been valuable. So with Oak Ridge, we've been able in the last year rapidly expand our activities on the civil construction and manufacturing side, taking advantage of new progress in that area. Those were not even known possibilities a few years ago, and so being able to have that flexibility, and actually because Kairos controls where we spend the money to achieve the milestones, it allows us the flexibility to make sure that we're using our investment efficiently to achieve those milestones.
Let me pivot to HALU. How?
Well, that's a nice story, bro, but Kairos has had a little bit of problems in the last few years. Kairos Power, a nuclear energy startup partnering with Google to develop small modular reactors, has faced controversies centered on labor disputes. As of November of 2025, they were refusing to negotiate with their building union members. Hello. Ambitious deployment timelines. This guy seems like someone who really wants to cut corners. And safety concerns over new technology. So this company is not, perfect. And I hope to God this guy has better safety guidelines than he does shaving habits. I don't like his beard. It's just me. But it bugs me. And I feel like there's just a lot of food in that beard. And I just don't want to think about it. But here we are. Anyway, Google loves Kairos, apparently.
Critical is the timely development of reliable domestic HALEU supply for not just Kairos, but for the entire broader advanced reactor sector.
No,
So the development of
regulations. Oh, yeah, we
the
should do
supply
that
chain
song.
for the high-assay LEU is imperative for us and for others. Though I would start from the position that the investments from the commercial industry need to be driven by a viable future fleet of reactors. That order book needs to be the driver for all of that commercial investment. So we're working hard to develop that demand signal, and then the support that DOE has provided for initial demonstration programs. So we have completed our contract with DOE for HALEU for the Hermes reactor. But for us, actually, our general strategy is to defer as long as possible to allow time for the enrichers to develop that infrastructure. But that clock is ticking, and there is urgency for others especially in terms of that need. But for us in general, having that partnership with DOE for the early demonstration projects is critical, and we're proud to have reached agreement with DOE on that front.
Mr. Garish, last year's appropriation bill provided $3.1 billion to support the Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program. Obviously, that's meant to catalyze private sector investment in deploying next-generation nuclear technologies. What's the department's strategy to disperse this funding effectively?
As you know, Senator, thank you for the question. That there was a short deadline for indicating back to the Congress as to what our plans were. We have internally gone through and determined what an appropriate allocation of that was, and that the amount that we have determined that was available out of that 3.1 was 2.83 billion. And the reason for the difference was that some of that money was previously obligated, and we are working that through. We have provided to the appropriators our suggested allocations, the way we would make that money available. We have gone back to OMB and provided that back to OMB for their review also, and they are in the process of allowing us to make those allocations known. And they will, in their allocation process, provide that money in some timely fashion, we believe, over the next several months.
Okay. Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you. Assistant Secretary Garish, as you know, Section 3 of the executive order calling for reinvigorating the nuclear industrial base required DOE to coordinate on a recommended national policy to support the management of spent nuclear fuel and high-level waste. Can you please provide details on what recommendations were submitted to the White House regarding the management of spent fuel?
The report that we did make those reports to the White House, and in essence, it reflects the nuclear life cycle innovation campuses. In other words, we have gone out to the public and to governors and to states and asked them their interest in being one of these campuses. And that was a very lengthy request for information. And in that, we asked them to commit to a number of items. And one of them would be the management of the disposition of spent fuel. And the idea in those campuses was we wanted to get the value out of the spent fuel, and therefore they would use a recycling
Sorry, I was
process
writing a song.
and have a resale of the materials. So the
Sorry
spent
about
fuel stream would be greatly reduced from having to bury the spent fuel the way it was anticipated with Yucca Mountain.
Can I ask very quickly, because I only have so much time, were the campuses the only recommendation that came out of that report to the White House, or were there other recommendations?
The industrialization and the recycling aspect was the manner in which that was the answer that was made to the White House.
Okay, and then with respect to the campuses, how is the department informing, how are these campuses informing the department's next steps, or is it too soon to tell?
Well, we asked a number of questions to the states and the governors. They were to respond by April 1st. We anticipate using
don't
some
keep track of
criteria to move forward and determine which ones are viable. And then based on that, we would probably go into some form of MOU with the states as a first step, moving towards state legislation and federal legislation to actually make this a stable, long-term program.
Thank you. And is it still the administration's posture in opposition to Yucca Mountain? That is still affirmatively the position of this administration, and no funding requested for Yucca Mountain?
The president's position has not changed.
Thank you. Dr. Wagner, I noticed in your statement you talked about the need to update the Nuclear Waste Policy Act. What did you mean by that?
So, thank you for the question, first of all. So, as Assistant Secretary Garish noted, the Nuclear Waste Policy Act was initially enacted in 1982. A lot has changed.
I know it well.
A lot has changed, including this concept of nuclear life cycle innovation campuses. And so, I would say, I won't speak for the Department of Energy, but they relooked at the entire strategy for the back end. This is reflected in the nuclear life cycle innovation campuses, and that is not consistent with the way the Nuclear Waste Policy Act was structured. And one other key aspect to that is the way the Nuclear Waste Policy Act is structured. There really is no policy incentive for recycling, for example. And so that all needs to be looked at carefully. I would hope that the request for information responses from this activity the department is doing would be useful information to inform how exactly the Nuclear Waste Policy Act should be modified. But I feel strongly modifications are required. I think it's going to, we need to move quickly, but we also need to be thoughtful in how this would be changed.
Do you think there's modifications that are available now because of emerging technology or new technology that is available to us?
There are advancements in recycling technology, but a lot has changed as well in the sense of now we are talking, for the last several decades, we've been flat in nuclear energy, essentially. Now we're talking about quadrupling nuclear power by 2050. So we also have a very different future in front of us that also was not, I'd say, foreseen back in that time period.
And then finally, is there to the two of
Maybe it was foreseen and they decided not to do it. I'll link a history of the Yucca Mountain Nuclear Waste Repository, which apparently hasn't received new funding since like 2010. And so Yucca Mountain has been, what I would guess, is tragically underfunded. So yeah, and what he just said was, if you're going to quadruple the amount of waste, I don't know, is that what he said? Did he say quadruple? I don't know. Did he say that? I'm not really sure. Then how are we going to, if we're not ready to, we can run towards the building and flipping the switch, right, on nuclear energy. But if we don't have that, if we don't have a plan for what to do with the waste, like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't get it. I know there's a lot that goes on in this world beyond what I'm able to understand, which I get. But I just feel like this is very important, and we have very little information in a kind of a general sense of how we're hurtling down this mountain. I know I'm speaking to the choir, but it just really strikes me that we're hurtling down a mountain.
Of you,
Really
is there,
fast.
do you see a distinction in how you're going to manage
I don't trust these people to
the
put
waste
the
from these
guardrails on.
advanced reactors versus the traditional technology for waste? And again, to me, they're two different issues. I understand with the advanced technology or advanced reactors, it produces a different waste stream considerations than the old technology. But I'm curious how you, I do think, and many of my colleagues are concerned, we still have a waste issue in both of them.
Well,
How do we manage that? Either one of you, and maybe Assistant Secretary, if you want to start.
Each of those each of those technologies is different, and the handling of TRISO fuel, for instance, must be done differently than traditional spent fuel. And we are in the process of analyzing how that is to be done, but each of those end products do have value, and we're attempting to make sure that we get the value from the products.
Yeah, and I know my time is up. I can't stress this enough. This, to me, is the issue we deal with first, how we address the waste, so we don't end up where we are today with an old policy from the 80s, and we're still addressing the waste in this country. This is a priority for us to move forward with nuclear technology, and I'm hopeful that there is a priority to address the waste stream on both technologies and give those answers to us here in Congress so we have a future for this country.
We understand, and we will necessarily have to come back to the Congress for legislation to do the modifications on the Nuclear Waste Policy Act, consistent with the states that we deal with and how they would like to proceed.
Thank you. I know my time is up. Thank you.
God, I just can't see all
Thank
the
you,
parts of
Senator
the
Cortez
screen at
Masto.
once.
Senator
I'm
Hyde
so
Smith,
sorry.
you're up next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I certainly want to thank the members here for being here, that you're coming to help us out here with the witnesses. The Trump administration has made it abundantly clear that the nuclear power should be highly considered source of baseload power. And Mississippi, the state I represent, is home to Grand Gulf Nuclear Station, the largest single-unit reactor in the entire country. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission is currently undertaking the process to renew an existing early site permit.
Listen, okay? Listen. Cher did this movie already, okay? Cher and Meryl Streep, okay? What's the name of that movie with Cher? We've seen this movie before. We had this whole entire conversation in the 80s. We already had this conversation in the 80s. What's the name of that? Silkwood. Thank you, Badger. We've already been here. Yes, we were supposed to have fucking learned our lesson about the dangers of unfettered nuclear waste stuff, and the lack of corporations handling their fucking waste and poisoning their employees. So we've been down this, we already know how this movie ends. And guess what? Cher doesn't make it. God damn it. I'm telling you, this is like, we had a bunch of movies. We had China Syndrome in the 70s, I guess. I can't remember when that came out. We had China Syndrome. We had Silkwood. We had all kinds. Norma Ray. You know, like, we had all these movies that were like, hey, get your heads on straight. Spoiler alert. Cher dies in the end. You know, like, fucking hell. What the hell? Yeah, maybe Damnation Alley. I just, like, what the fuck? Like, we've seen this movie before. I understand. I guess what I'm saying is that in the consciousness of America, I thought this was settled. I thought we knew that the waste and all the shit had to be figured out first. I thought we learned that. Oh my God. I feel like I'm reliving the 70s and the 80s. I literally feel like that. I really feel like I really thought I had put those things, like those are lessons learned. Okay. Also shared an article about how the 2014 kitty litter led to a fire and thus disaster at nuclear waste storage facility in Carlsbad, New Mexico, due to human error. Oh yeah, we love humans.
At Grand Gulf,
Sorry.
which could make Grand Gulf an ideal location for a future advanced reactor. I continue to hear concerns about cost overrun risk being a factor outside the project's control. And these issues range from nuclear regulatory changes to workforce to supply chain constraints to many things. In the decades since the United States became a leader in commercial nuclear energy, we have seen a reduction in nuclear manufacturing capabilities and secure nuclear supply chains. To the panel, what are all your thoughts on how we can work to reshore the nuclear supply chain in a way that would decrease the cost overruns and construction disruptions, issues that might deter utilities and developers from building new reactors in the United States?
She is so excited to have a nuclear reactors in her state of Mississippi. She is so excited that she's going to have lots of nukes around. Yeah, Toxic Avenger, yeah. Toxic Avenger. That's not easy for me to say. But she can't wait. She's more worried about cost overruns than she is about the safety of Mississippians. Hey, Mississippi. Tina Hyde Smith, or whatever the fuck her name is. I can't remember. Something. I think it's Tina. Tina Hyde Smith. Anyway, listen. She doesn't give a flying fuck about you, Mississippi. A flying fuck. She wants to make sure the money's safe. She doesn't want any of those. She doesn't want to have to answer embarrassing questions about the cost overruns of a nuclear power plant. So I hope you're not going to embarrass me with cost overruns. What? Yeah, okay. Be worried about that. Not
The overrun question is one of the issues, is one of the stumbling blocks going forward that we need to deal with. One of the issues that I think that we have to do is we have to incentivize on budget, on time activities from the industry that's building these reactors. Currently, there is very little incentive to reduce costs, and we have other.
Oh my God! This man, the Assistant Secretary for Nuclear Power, thinks we need to incentivize companies to stay on budget and on schedule. This man, who is supposed to be in charge of nuclear whatever proliferation, is more concerned with incentivizing corporations to do the right thing, when I think when they sign contracts, they should be committing to do the right thing. No company should have to be incentivized to do the right thing. Oh, I don't even know what the answers are. I really don't. Hi, Clark. Humans have an accident with nuclear things on average every 7 to 12 years, depending on how one qualifies an accident, like a nuke falling out of a plane versus Fukushima or 3 Mile. I mean, I don't, okay. I mean, I know there's a lot to know, but these guys don't give me any confidence.
Other programs at the department, and let me give you an example, where we've had very costly overruns in terms of how much it costs to rehab a particular area. And the one that comes
There's
to
your
mind is
fucking
Rocky.
fraud, waste, and abuse. Let's not send any more money to the nuclear regulatory or the nuclear companies until they get their shit together. Oh, isn't that what's his face is doing? JD Vance, the couch fucker. Isn't that what he's doing with Minnesota? He's withholding funds, or at least that's what they claim, until the fraud is all figured out. I hate these people. I honestly 100% hate these people. And I will never have anything in common with them.
Flats in Colorado. Rocky Flats in
Fucking
Colorado,
hell.
we were able to reduce the ultimate cost of that activity through incentivizing the contractors to take the necessary actions to be on time and on budget. What we've got to do is do the same, I believe, with nuclear new build. It takes a while for the cost to be able, so we can have enough production that we can reduce costs in manufacturing, for instance. But I believe that we need to have a program that will incentivize keeping this on budget. And we are working diligently right now with the industry to see what methods can be undertaken. There are pieces of legislation that are out now currently before the Congress on the question on overruns. And I understand one of the ways to deal with it is spend more money. I'm not necessarily convinced that we need to do that. I think what we need to do is provide the incentives to make this operation, make the incentives for staying on budget, not providing additional methodology for overruns.
Thank you for that answer. Dr. Wagner?
I would just add to that any first-of-a-kind technology is more expensive than the third, the fifth, the seventh, to the so-called nth-of-a-kind cost that you run the curve down for any energy technology and pretty much any technology, period. And as you rightly framed in the question, we have atrophied in our supply chain and our ability to build these things in our workforce, just about every aspect that we need, particularly for building large nuclear reactors. We saw that play out in the Vogtle experience, where the cost escalated from an initial estimate around $14 billion to over $30 billion. Each utility and each utility board doesn't want to have that situation play out in their system. And so we do have to find mechanisms like Assistant Secretary Garish talked about in terms of how do we do it on budget. But we also know that when you're doing first-of-kind, you run into first-of-kind issues that you didn't anticipate, and therefore you may have cost overruns. So I'm not an expert in how to address that aspect, but I do know from talking to utility leaders and private company leaders that utility boards, public utility commissions would like some assurance to the extent possible that the ratepayers don't end up with a significant extra cost related to the first-of-a-kind build. And we can't get to nth-of-kind cost measures until we do the first one. And so that's the situation that we found ourselves in for quite a while.
We don't know what we don't know. Thank you so much, sir.
So if I may just briefly add, this is the fundamental issue for new deployment. And I would say that the path forward needs to have a bridge to that commercial viability that understands the risk of first-of-a-kind deployments. And I would say through DOE's investments, has accountability for understanding where things may be going in the wrong direction and being able to have multiple options, multiple pathways, and make decisions. Because we need to have multiple strategies in place, but not everyone is going to ultimately be successful. And so being able to execute those first projects well and then translate that execution into predictable and repeatable costs for future projects, that's the key. But reducing the capital investment for the early projects is fundamental there, and then being able to fully leverage DOE strategic investments, but provide that accountability, and really only the projects that have that viability, that commercial viability to get to that the private financing vehicle, that's where we need to get to, because we need to kind of build that bridge across that divide. So that's a key point there.
Thank you, and I know I'm out of time. I have a second question that I'll submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Hyde-Smith. Senator Gallego.
Thank you, Chairman Lee and Ranking Member Heinrich, and thank you to our witnesses for
Okay, I want to talk about Gallego, okay? Because Gallego is the co-sponsor of one of these bills that we're talking about, the Accelerating Reliable Capacity Act, which I'm just starting to read, which is, he was a co-sponsor with Risch from Idaho, which is where this laboratory, that John Wagner guy is from Idaho. And this one, okay, so this is so not a motherfucking explanation of it. But this is, okay, so the Accelerating Reliable Capacity Act, introduced by Risch and Gallego, aims to accelerate the deployment of advanced nuclear reactors by minimizing financial risk. It establishes a $3.6 billion program to backstop cost overruns for initial projects. Creates a new nuclear investment accelerator program, allowing the Department of Energy to act as a financial backstop for unforeseen construction costs. What? Let's see. I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to be on, can I be totally 100% with you? Ruben Gallego bothers me. There's something about Ruben Gallego that bothers me. I can't tell you exactly what he's done that makes me feel this way, but there are some moments where I'm not sure Ruben Gallego is the hero that we think he is. So I'm just putting that out there, like the bitch that I am. But I really, there's something about Ruben Gallego which bothers the fuck out of me. And I want to read more into this act to see what it is. Yeah, crypto, that's what it is, Jane. Oh my God, it's that. So, yeah, I think it came up during like the Clear Act or something, whatever that one was, what they were talking about crypto. But yeah, so he's really, I just want to find out what this fucking bill is all about, because I think, well, first of all, it creates a government agency that then will help backstop financial risk, meaning there's a pool of money to address cost overruns, which apparently are a huge issue in this industry, and sometimes to the point of 100% cost overruns. 100%. Yeah, we pick up the tab. If and when, because it's not if, it's when, because these projects all have cost overruns. It's a huge issue, in fact.
being here. As many know, nuclear energy is important to me. Its potential for clean, reliable energy is tremendous. Being from Arizona, we're very proud of Palo Verde nuclear power plant, and it was one of the largest producers for 30 years. And Arizona State was selected by DOE last year as a research partner for the MARVEL program. Don't need to, you guys know what that is. We'll skip to that. I want to make sure I get to my questions. Recently, I was proud to introduce a bill called the ARC Act with Senator Rich to accelerate investment and completion of new commercial nuclear reactors by minimizing cost overrun risks. We just had this conversation. I look forward to working on more bipartisan nuclear efforts that move technology forward without undermining community input and safety. My first question is for Mr. Garish. I appreciate your openness to creative solutions for the safe and fast deployment of nuclear energy. And during your confirmation process, I especially appreciate our conversation in my office around SMRs, which have great potential to meet rising energy demands in places like, especially like Arizona. And I've heard from communities that don't want to wait and are looking for creative solutions like partnering with military bases on advanced nuclear projects. The executive order on nuclear for national security includes a similar mandate to deploy a nuclear reactor on domestic military installation by 2028. And I share that desire also to move quickly and improve military readiness through nuclear energy. But I have some questions around the implementation of this executive order. Given that the Department of the Army is working with the DOE to replicate your authorization process, how are you supporting the identification of reactor deployment sites? And what outreach or consultation is being done with surrounding communities that may be interested or may not be interested?
Well, the Department of the Army has the Janus program that you're familiar with, which is really their entire program to basically establish nuclear as a source of electricity for military bases. We are cooperating with them, and right now, in the case of one of the micros, they are working with us so that we can authorize it, and potentially they would authorize it following our initial activity. We generally provide, and through Dr. Wagner's people at the laboratory, our folks and the laboratory people provide most of the expertise that's needed for the Army to do the actual authorization. So I anticipate that this program will grow as they indicate their needs for additional activity around that.
Is 2028 a realistic goal at this point?
I'm not. Well, I think it's.
It's not a judgment call, but just out of curiosity.
I think they have. We're going to be able to take one of the reactors in the pilot program that's going to be available for their use immediately. So this is going to move fairly quickly. We have to get. It's not just going critical. We have to actually do. We have to produce power too.
Yes,
so,
that's
so
what
we've got to go to the next step. But they're basically ready to go fairly soon.
Okay, that's good to hear. Next question is for Dr. Lawfer. Your company, Kairos Power, has led the industry in deploying advanced nuclear technology, and rapidly deploying advanced nuclear is exactly what the ARC Act really aims to do to be helpful in that regard. How would the ARC Act help foster innovation in the nuclear space and improve DOE as an industry partner? And how else can Congress work with industry to get new technologies out the door fast?
So, Senator, thank you for the question and for your support and work on the ARC Act. My perspective is that the life cycle from demonstration to deployment is the key area where federal investment provides the biggest opportunity. I do think that we have to look at the full spectrum of incentives and programs and make sure that they all work together in a consistent way. I think that the ARC Act addresses issues for that early fleet deployments, and that allows us to develop confidence kind of with our order book, with our commercial activities. I would say that those policies have to be complementary with the demonstration phase. And so for us, the ARC Act is addressing issues that are a little bit further down the road. We're focused right now on the execution with cost certainty for the demonstrations. But I think that building that bridge with consistent policies for companies at each step in that process is crucial, and providing that predictability for the commercial fleet deployment and building that.
Why? Why do you get certainty in your business? And Dan, if that's true, if it's because of low bids to win the contract, then I mean, I ran a P&L like for many years, and I went through the bid process, competitive bid processes for vendors. I would never just take the lowest cost contract without looking at what was in the contract. So what you're telling me, Dan, is that these folks just have taken the lowest cost without any basis in reality. That's project management failure 101. Like, that literally I worked for 35 years in corporations and in nonprofits, in large and small, on project management. Not once would you ever just choose a vendor because of pure cost without comparing what they're actually going to deliver for that. Like, is this how deep the corruption of just, mostly white males is? What? And the fact that they want taxpayers to fucking help them out, and it's like a guaranteed no fail? Fuck you. Then maybe you need to have I don't know. Like, I don't get this. And I know it's probably Dunning-Kruger. Like, I don't understand the process, so I'm sure I'm missing some big parts of it that happen. But from the outside looking in, this looks pretty goddamn stupid.
That order book is key. So thank you for the
The
support
order
and work
book
on the
is
issue.
key.
Well,
yeah,
thank you. And,
yeah.
you know, there is
usually an order book is key for any business, you stupid motherfucker. And I get it. It's risky, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure there's a way to do it so that you can help people take risks, right? Like I know I'm confident that you would be able to figure out a way to help these companies assume the risk that they're, taking on with emerging technology or whatever it is, however you want to soft soap it. But man, there should be a lot of questions being asked, I think. And Ruben Gallego, you should be asking a lot more questions and not just pushing your motherfucking legislation because it's going to help the energy PACs that give you money.
a real bipartisan want, which I think has been missing for quite a while. It was here before, I mean, just to be clear. But now I think there's a lot of
But I'm gonna stop this because we've only got like a half an hour left of it. And yeah, let them open open a restaurant. Tell the small business owners about this backstop. I can't with this. It's so dumb. There's so much corruption. There's so much self-dealing. Oh my God. I can't. It's just annoying. Sorry, my necklaces are all tied up. Anyway. Okay, let's move on, actually. Let's just move on. Let's see. What's this? This is the oversight hearing. Is this any? No, I'm not sure I want to do this one either. No, let's read. Let's read. I think we should read. I think reading is good. I like reading. Let's read. I have so many things I'd rather read. Oops. Oh my God. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard to make it in this country. I get it. But I'm not here to help those billionaires. I don't give a shit about them. I really don't. I really don't. The kitty litter. Okay. You guys have to go into our Discord because there's so many good articles. I can't wait. I can't wait to go back. Okay. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Wait, did I open that window already? Did I open the window this morning? What? Wait, what? Nope, that's not it. Nope. Nope. Oh, I know what I did. Okay. All right. I have just keeping along the lines of energy and shit. I want to talk about the Golden Dome. My golden dome. Oh, my golden dome. You're my golden dome, yeah. You're a golden dome. I'm so tired. I'm tired of bailing out companies of any kind. Yes, I agree. Yes, corruption is profoundly affecting everything. It's just, there's no reason to trust any regime on that. But so I pulled up this article because I have a few articles, which we don't have to go into all of them today, but on the Golden Dome, the golden piss pot that we're trying to build and put over whatever countries we're in, wherever countries we're taking over or something. Welcome to the golden age of America. That's right. Robber barons. Okay. This is from the Union of Concerned Scientists. Congress should rein in the foolhardy pursuit of a Golden Dome program. This is a statement by Dr. Laura Grego in January. And so, a year ago today, on January 27th, President Donald Trump issued a sweeping executive order calling for an Iron Dome for America to defend against ballistic, hypersonic, advanced cruise missiles, and other next-generation aerial attacks from peer, near-peer, and rogue adversaries. While such a system, quickly rechristened as the Golden Dome, may sound appealing and prudent for safeguarding the United States, it is and will remain technically unrealistic in practice, profoundly destabilizing, and wildly expensive. Congress has already provided $24.4 billion for this golden bauble, setting off a race amongst defense companies looking for a share of the prize. Most notably, this includes a $5.6 billion for space interceptors to counter nuclear armed missiles, another concept that sounds exciting but is deeply problematic and would be by far the most expensive part of the plan. Trump's Golden Dome space-based interceptor shield is nothing but fool's gold, shiny but ultimately worthless, and taxpayers would be left footing the bill to defense contractors, said Dr. Laura Grego, Senior Research Director in the Global Security Program at the Union of Concerned Scientists. Congress needs to do everything in its power to zero out funding for the program and limit the long-term damage that President Trump can do with it to U.S. security. There are many better ways to spend this much money and effort. President Trump has yet to provide the public with basic information about his plans for the Golden Dome, legitimate cost estimates, a cogent timeline, or justification for why Greenland is essential for the program. In fact, many of these claims have no basis in reality. While threatening to invade an ally the United States is treaty-bound to defend, has already served to undermine U.S. security through the alienation of its friends and allies. And then we told them to send their sons and daughters to be killed alongside us or else. So we're doing great, Doctor. The United States could spend trillions of dollars over a decade or more trying to field a space-based interceptor system that would not work reliably, yet may well prompt a lose-lose arms race where U.S. adversaries take lower-cost steps to improve their capabilities to get through or evade the proposed system. Isn't that happening with cluster bombs right now over Tel Aviv? Am I mistaken in that we've seen, and it has been reported, that cluster bombs can scoot through when they bomb, they blow up and then there's a bunch of little bombs. I just heard on the news last night that those little bombs can go through the interceptor system that Israel has, right? Oh my God. Well, wait till you hear how much money we're spending on Golden Dome. You're gonna freak. Okay. The Golden Dome program was a foolhardy idea to start with, and Congress should work to rein in the administration before it does more damage. Oh, that was it? I wanted you guys to say more about it. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. Oh, Anderl, our friend Palmer Luckey, brother-in-law of Matt Gaetz, noted child sex trafficking, allegedly, as confirmed by the Congress themselves. Yeah, that's right. The Congress found that Matt had sex with a 17-year-old that we know of. Okay, all right, thanks. This is from just a few days ago. Anduril to acquire space surveillance firm Exoanalytic eyeing more Golden Dome capabilities. I just want to bring up that the Golden Dome is not sleeping. The Golden Dome is quite active, and these are just a few of the stories I pulled. So this one is from the Potomac Officers Club. I have no idea what their deal is, but okay, they sound really important. But they did have this, I found this article, the 5 big developments in the Golden Dome wrapping up 2025. This was in December, so it's a little bit of an old article, but I think I have very little idea of what's happening with the Golden Dome, so this was my way of trying to get somewhat oriented, so forgive. If you already know these, I'm sorry that this is a repeat. Plenty of big Golden Dome news hit the streets to wrap up an already consequential 2025 for the program. The Department of War informed certain companies that they could compete for the billions of dollars in contracts as part of the Golden Dome, the nascent Homeland Missile Defense System. Program Director and Washington 100 Award winner General Michael Gutlein also provided some interesting insights about the Homeland Missile Defense System to the public, which will certainly spur interest into the already highly anticipated defense system. Lastly, key compromise legislation, including Golden Dome, was released and passed by the U.S. House of Representatives. That's right, because we'll never know. Let's dive into the 5 biggest Golden Dome headlines for the end of the year. Let's see. That's just a promotion for their thing. Okay. MDA taps first companies under SHIELD. That sounds like one of those bad like agencies, you know, SHIELD. Like what's the Bond villain agency? Or what? Isn't SHIELD part of Marvel? Isn't that part of the Marvel universe? Aren't we in the Marvel verse with SHIELD? I don't know. I think so, actually. I'm pretty sure. The Dow in early December told, the DOW, sorry, Department of War. Jesus Christ. God, wake up, woman. The Department of War in early December told 1,000 firms that they could compete for Golden Dome contracts when they were selected as part of the first phase of the Scalable Homeland Innovative Enterprise Layered Defense, or SHIELD. Companies that receive awards under SHIELD, an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract, will be eligible for funding from a pool. We should create our own company. Why don't we create a company and try and get a contract? I don't know what we're going to do, but it's probably not going to be what they think we're going to do. You know, but we'll do it real cheap. And then we'll turn around and give the money to charity. Or shielded it at infinite delivery. Okay. The contract vehicle received bids from 2,463 companies. The Department of War didn't specify which companies were selected in SHIELD's first round. SHIELD is one of many initiatives created for developing Golden Dome. The Homeland Missile Defense infrastructure is contemplated to be a vast network of weapons and sensors leveraged across many domains that can detect, track, and stop incoming missile threats. The Missile Defense Agency also has another Golden Dome contracting vehicle known as the Multiple Authority Announcement, Defense Scoop reported. This will be leveraged to issue contract awards for hypersonic and kinetic defense, space-based technologies, command and control, battle management, and other capabilities. Are we preparing for some kind of alien invasion or something? Is there something we don't know? Gutline announces first Golden Dome. Gutland said Golden Dome will have some operational capability by mid-2028, Air and Space Forces magazine reported on December 7th. Gutline's remarks at the Reagan Defense Forum were significant because they represent the latest information shared with the public and not just industry. Gutline said that Golden Dome will leverage existing programs and systems and won't be built from scratch, I'm sure. The Department of War is acquiring existing interceptors needed for Golden Dome, which could include terminal high-altitude area defense and Patriot missile systems. Well, now they're not because we need them all for the war that we started. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gutland didn't clarify which existing interceptors were being acquired. Oh my God. Sorry. I'm coughing. God, stop pushing your stupid fucking meeting. Nobody cares. Northrop Grumman, Anduril, Palmer Luckey, Lockheed Martin, and True Anomaly were awarded the first contracts to develop boost phase space-based interceptors for Golden Dome. Sat News reported in a December 11th article. These awards are valued between $9 and $10 million per company. Sat News believes Anduril receiving an award along with traditional primes Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin demonstrates the Department of War's buy versus build procurement strategy for Golden Dome. This should deprioritize the strict multi-year cycles found in traditional defense contracting in favor of speed and innovation preferred under the Trump administration. Wait, so this should deprioritize the strict multi-year cycles. Wait, I don't get it. Multi-year cycles, what does that mean? I don't even understand what that means. These prototypes will complete for production in coming years that would be worth billions of dollars. Well, okay, so lady at the whatever, the Potomac officers do not agree that it's feasible or infeasible. Gutline also said that social engineering Whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuck does that mean? Gutline also said that social engineering and organizational behavior was Golden Dome's biggest challenge. This is because each Department of War service agency and even international allies have their own rules and methods of doing business and cultures. Gutline said this is why the Department of War created the Direct Report Program Manager infrastructure. This provides him with new and wide-ranging authorities across the Department of War to create a new Homeland Defense program. Boy, I sure wish they'd explain some of these things, like in practice. Maybe people understand it without needing that, but I need that. Broad support. 68% of respondents to a poll commissioned by the Ronald Reagan Institute approve of increasing Golden Dome funding, with 26% opposed, according to Breaking Defense. The bipartisan, it's 2,500 people. Stop it. Congress recently weighed in on the program with compromise fiscal year 2026 defense authorization bill language authorizing funding for Golden Dome. The legislation also authorizes additional funding for air and missile defense development and testing, including full funding for THAAD, SM-3 Block 2A, and Patriot. The House passed the compromise version of the 2026 Defense Authorization Act on December 11th. The bill must pass, blah, 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 blah. Golden Dome is DUMP's signature defense effort, a U.S. missile defense system inspired by Israel's Iron Dome. The program has a goal of fielding space-based interceptors and similar technologies as part of a wide-ranging missile defense infrastructure. One of the key hurdles for Golden Dome is differentiating between space debris, decoys, and incoming missiles. They're going to blow up the space station. I just know it. Another is maturing technologies such as space-based interceptors to help it to reach full operational capability. Oh, don't worry about that. They're going to do the Cliff Notes version of it. Don't worry about it. Yikes. This is what I had tried to tap into the let me catch up with you guys. I can't. I need to just smoke some weed. I don't know. Yeah, Fallout over Canada sounds like a shitty movie. That's it, Badger. We're all going to die. I just want you to know. That's what the theme of this story is. This show's subtitle is, We're All Going to Die. This day job is really cramping your wake and bake groove. Girl, we need to get you in retirement. I need you to come and play with Lolo. Lee. Fuck that shit. Fuck working. Fuck money. We'll figure out how to make money in some way else. I don't know how. Golden Dome is another grift. Yes, it is. Oh my God. Everything. I know, Sarah. Everything is a reboot. Everything is a reboot of all the shit that we thought we had kind of like settled. I know we don't settle anything. I want healthcare and education. I want people in Kansas to have their licenses back. I want them to have their identities back. I want children to be able to access healthcare that they need. I want women and birthing people to be able to access life-saving healthcare that they need. I want to buy my medicine. I want to be able to afford my medicine. Right? That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to be able to afford rent. That's what I want. And maybe, live near the water. Like, all of those things are unrealistic at this point. And I don't, this is just like, it's so maddening. And it's like on every front. Greg Phillips, we could be teleported to a Waffle House. Like Greg Phillips was teleported to a Waffle House? Wow, I missed that. When did Greg Phillips get teleported to a Waffle House? We can all just get Teresa. He said that? What? It's almost unbelievable that we entrust ourselves, squishy, helpless, hapless bags of water, meat, and bones to navigate protocols of such profound complexity needed to safely take advantage of radioactive material. Yes. Yes. I need a winning lottery ticket or something. Maybe we should start a company to go after government contracts and grift big. See, that's it, Lee. I feel like we should. I feel like we should Robin Hood this bitch. We should Robin Hood this bitch. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Yeah, Tipsicor. Yes. Is he with Tori? He's time traveling with Tori. Weird. Oh man, I did not have all this on my bingo card though. I'm gonna be really 100 with you. I'll definitely put all these. I also had linked this in. This is from the small modular reactors. This is a piece from, this is from last November. I'm not going to read this, but I will go ahead and include this in the description so you can take a look about nuclear energy and SMRs, but we need to move on. This was something that I'm not sure. Okay, that's ours. Okay, let's see here. Hold on just a minute. Hold on just a minute. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. Actually, it's this window. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Okay, that's that. I don't want that. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, but okay. Okay. Hold on. Wait, check it out. Yeah, K-Files at CNN just dug up a clip on it. Wait, what? Oh, on him? On the time traveling? It's only 12:30. I know. We're not going anywhere. Don't worry. I'm only been here 2.5 hours. We're not going anywhere. I got a shit ton of stuff. I just need to remember how to pull everything up on my computer. Okay, let's see here. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many. I want to watch the Flight of the Conchords again. Too many dicks on the. Okay, wait. I need to open this in a new window. That's not it, though. Okay. Well, actually, that's fine. We can do it. I'll just do it this way. It's kind of weird, but that's fine. Okay, let me... That's not what you're supposed to be looking at. All right. Hey, who's that? That's Adriana. She's one of our loungers. I love her. Well, guess what Adriana found? Oh, we're going to have to talk about movies, too, by the way. It's a cute movie about a retired cornflake worker who figured out that a lottery roll-down system had a flaw, and his wife revitalized their small Michigan town by bringing everyone in. That's so adorable! Meowing Star, what's the name of it? I'm so sorry. Have you seen Jerry and Marge Go Large? Oh, my God, how adorable. What a cute name. Figured out if they purchased something like 10,000 tickets minimum, they'd win by law of large averages. I love that. I love that. I love that. This is Adriana. She's one of our beautiful friends. Ha ha ha, a bunch of double dumbasses. This is perfect. Oh my God, that guy. I remember him. So she found this yesterday. Tina Peters' attorney, that's right, Tina Peters is back in the news, showed up with a dump pardon to release her, but it's a state crime and she will serve her whole sentence after being charged with conspiracy to commit criminal impersonation and attempting to intimidate public servant. He was told to leave the premises. I have got to play this because there's a fucking tape. There's a fucking tape. Here we go.
I'm John Case. I'm Tina Peters' lawyer, and I've got a copy of the presidential pardon, so I'd like to take my client, please.
Okay. Can we see it?
Sure, sir. That's for you.
Okay. Can we keep the copy?
Yes, you may.
All right. Thank you, sir.
We're not gonna release her tonight.
Are you Mr. Tickerton?
No, I am Mr. Case.
Hi, Mr. Case. Melissa Smith, the Deputy Executive Director for the department. I just want you to know, we understand, we received a message earlier from Mr. Tickerton. However, in light of the pardon by President Trump as of yesterday, please be advised that this pardon has no effect on the convictions under the state law and does not pardon or invalidate for current Colorado convictions. The DOC has a duty under state law to supervise and hold all individuals convicted under Colorado law in DOC custody for the duration of this sentence. Therefore, Ms. Peterson has not completed her service or sentence, and she will not be released from the DOC custody at this time. If you wish to have attorney visit, please follow DOC policy to make sure that was arranged.
Are you asking me to leave?
I am asking you to leave,
All
sir.
right, well, I'll follow that instruction.
I love it. That Case guy, man, he has got to rapture fast. I need that guy off this motherfucking planet. Yes, movie. We have movies tomorrow night, and I need those. I cannot believe that motherfucker showed up to the fucking prison where Tina Peters is being held like an asshole with a fucking piece of paper in his hand saying that he has a pardon from the president. He knows that that doesn't work. What the fuck? Was he literally thinking, I know Chuck Norris died. Was he literally thinking that they were going to release that cunt to him? Really? Are you kidding me? Is that how little that this man thinks of our justice system? That he can lie and submit something that is legally not binding and try and fool the local authorities? That should be cause for censure or disbarment or whatever. I mean, he should be disbarred anyway because he's a fucking dick. Yeah, R.I.P. Chuck Norris. He was kind of a MAGA. So, I don't know. My dad liked Walker, Texas Ranger, though, so he didn't like Chuck Norris, but he liked Walker, Texas Ranger. So, there's that. Chuck Norris said, I don't age, I level up. Well, bitch, you leveled right the way fuck up. And I bet you leveled down. I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess that you actually leveled way down. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I've got more. Let me see. Which one do I want to talk about? Let's see. All right, let's go to my corruption tab. Let's go to the corruption tab. And I have a bunch of different articles just along the lines of kind of general corruption. Oops, I don't have them on the screen though, but that's okay. Howard Nutlicker. Yeah, he was total MAGA, unfortunately. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know why my dad liked that show so much. It was when he was older and he kind of like was a little bit going in the, having difficulty mentally. And I think he just really, I think he liked that the show was predictable in terms of what would happen. And he always used to tell me, he'd always say, there's no blood. Even when he shoots people, there's no blood. And for some reason, my dad really liked that near the end of his life. He really couldn't handle violence in movies anymore. I don't know if you've had aging parents, but he really got to a point where he couldn't handle any violence in movies. And, but he loved that kind of thing, right? He loved I don't know, he liked the procedural drama of the Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah, R.I.P. anyway. And he liked the fact that they had gunfights with no blood. I don't know. I love my pops. My pops was really awesome. I know, I'm with my dad on that too. Speaking of people we don't really love, let's talk about Howard Nutlicker. I think this is Teresa that found this. I think Teresa, either you or Tina found this. I can't recall. It wasn't me, that's for sure. But this is a story about we're keeping track of people's corruption. Here we go. This is from Bloomberg. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's actual Bloomberg. It's the radical leftists at the Bloomberg. Oh boy. As Lutnick sold Cantor. Okay, so as you know, Howard Lutnick was one of the founders of Cantor Fitzgerald. You remember them. They got blown up on 9/11. Yeah. So there's a whole thing. Yeah. So as Lutnick sold Cantor to his children, Tether gave them a loan. Ooh. Representatives for the financial services firm and the U.S. Commerce Secretary's family declined to reveal the amount. An ethics expert said the loan may be another favor to his family. His family owes Tether. And this is from March 18th, so it's new. Last October, U.S. Commerce Secretary Nuttlicker sold his multi-billion-dollar ownership interest in Cantor Fitzgerald, the financial services company he led for more than 3 decades, to a trust benefiting his 4 children, a move designed to comply with federal ethics rules. At about the same time, one of the trusts did something unusual. Dynasty Trust A, which benefits all 4 children, borrowed an undisclosed sum from Tether, the stablecoin issuer. Tether has helped Cantor Fitzgerald's assets skyrocket to new heights on the strength of a 2024 investment, and its foreign owners have sought more favorable U.S. regulatory policies for cryptocurrencies. Zing, 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 zing went the trolley. Bling, bling, bling went the bell. Zing, zing, zing went my heartstrings. When he stole all that money, I fell. Okay. Okay, well, now we know. A spokesman for Cantor Fitzgerald and the Lutnick children declined to discuss the size of the loan or whether it was used to finance any part of the asset sale. But spokesman Stan Neve said the acquisition was funded through multiple sources, multiple companies, and multiple trusts at market rates and market prices. It sounds like an ad. In keeping with Howard Nuttlicker's federal ethics agreement. The loan hasn't been reported on previously. There's Tether. A credit document filed in New York State on October 7th shows that the loan was secured by all assets held by the trust. Ooh, wow. Including any it might acquire later. What kind of... Well, how much money did Tether loan them? A Cantor executive familiar with the deal said the loan was specifically backed by a convertible bond that entitles the company to a 5% stake in Tether. What? Dynasty Trust A's assets include more than half the equity in Cantor Fitzgerald, according to a recent filing by the financial services company, but control of the firm via a separate management entity is held entirely by the next generation of the Lutnick family and has never been pledged, Neve said. In selling his assets, Lutnick met requirements under federal rules that aim to allow presidential appointees to shed potential conflicts of interest. Yet ethics experts who reviewed documents about the transaction said that if the loan aided Lutnick's sale to his children's trust, it undermines the spirit of federal divestiture requirements. This transaction is, in theory, supposed to eliminate a conflict of interest, but in reality, it creates a new one, said Kathleen Clark, a law professor at Washington University in St. Louis and a former ethics counsel for the District of Columbia. She said that if Tether's loan helped Lutnick complete a transaction that, quote, will ultimately benefit both him and his children, it's yet another favor his family owes Tether, and yet another reason for concern that Howard Nuttlicker may use his government power to benefit Tether and his children rather than the public. The Cantor Fitzgerald executive, who's familiar with the matter, disputed Clark's assessment, saying the loan wouldn't change the already strong and economic and strategic alignment of interests between Tether and the firm. Representatives for Tether didn't respond. A Commerce Department spokesperson also didn't respond to a list of questions, but sent a statement. Secretary Nuttlicker has fully complied with the terms of his ethics agreement, including all divestiture and recusal requirements, and will continue to do so. The amount Tether loaned to the trust is unclear, as is the price Lutnick's children paid to buy out their father. So Tether's money went to Nuttlicker himself? Really? 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 But as chief executive officer and chairman, Nuttlicker owned the vast majority of a company whose valuation ballooned by billions of dollars on paper following its 2024 investment in Tether. Tether's main line of business is a stable coin. Oh my God. Howard Metlicker is so corrupt. This guy is so corrupt. Tether's main line of business is a stable coin called USDT, a digital currency whose value is pegged to the dollar. What else is USDT being considered for? The strategic reserve? Huh? Let's see. USDT and okay. USDT is the largest stablecoin issuer. Tether, is the largest stablecoin issuer and a significant non-bank holder of U.S. Treasury bills, holding over $120 billion in to back its tokenized dollar, making it a growing private participant in the market regulated by the Federal Reserve policies. As of mid-2025, Tether held a substantial portion of its reserves in short-term U.S. Treasuries, making it a key player in the shadow market of dollar liquidity. Tether maintains over 100% backing for its tokens, with approximately 64% held in U.S. Treasuries and over 10% in repurchase agreements, directly linking USDT liquidity to U.S. government debt stability. Tether, which operates globally, has faced pressure to operate under stricter standards similar to traditional U.S. banks, with potential plans to transition toward more compliant structures. So, yeah. I think the USDT is already, is already considered, God damn it. Stop, why are you doing that? Oh, man. No, what happened? Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Okay, phew, God, sorry. Hi, Carrie, how are you? Good evening, good morning. I saw Robert De Niro on set near work in Toronto. Ooh. I wonder, is he tall? I don't know if he's tall or not. Okay, let's see here. The amount, okay, we did that. Tether's main line, okay, we did that. A digital currency whose value is pegged to the US dollar. The coins allow holders to transact instantly and with low fees outside traditional banking systems. For every USDT issued, Tether is supposed to hold in reserve high-quality liquid assets to back it up. Last year, Tether reported that its reserves amounted to $192 billion, and since 2021, Cantor has earned fees for managing those funds. Tether's business is immensely lucrative. It claimed to have $10 billion in profit last year and a 99% margin. What the fuck? The stablecoins company's successes come with controversy, though. Tether and related companies were fined about $60 million in 2021 after U.S. regulators alleged they made misleading statements about losses in their reserves. The companies didn't admit to any wrongdoing, because of course they didn't have to. Tether had also been under investigation by the Justice Department in 2024, according to two people with knowledge of the matter, although the current status of the investigation is unclear. Yikes. This is so stupid. Most U.S. banks avoided doing business with Tether until 2020. Oh, whoops, I didn't read that whole thing. Meanwhile, President Trump's administration has de-emphasized cryptocurrency enforcement, disbanding teams at the Justice Department and the SEC that looked into alleged crypto crimes. Gosh, why would that be? I don't know. Maybe, should we ask Hayden Davis why that might be? You know, the guy that helped Trump pull the rug on his meme coins? Yeah, that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just so we know. No, we've never heard of Hayden Davis, have we? Nope, no one talks about him. You know, we're just going to keep yelling into the void here at Lolo's Lounge. That's right. Disbanding teams at the Justice Department and that looked into alleged crypto crimes. In 2024, a UN report called Tether the preferred choice of gangsters and money launderers in Southeast Asia. There you go. Tether responded at the time that it collaborates with law enforcement agencies around the world to provide unparalleled monitoring of its tokens. Okay. Most U.S. banks avoided doing business with Tether until 2021 when it partnered with Cantor. Lutnick has said he personally negotiated a relationship with the company, reviewing its books to ensure it had all the assets it claimed. Tether's executives convinced Lutnick that they would cooperate with law enforcement and take other steps to deter money laundering, he said during his Senate confirmation hearings. Lutnick participated in negotiations for Cantor Fitzgerald to invest in Tether in April 2024. Bloomberg has reported that the investment took the form of a $600 million convertible bond that entitles the financial services company to a 5% stake in Tether. Wow, they're very close. The value of that stake has risen dramatically on paper and could reach $25 billion, greater than all the firm's other assets combined. If Tether attains the valuation goal of $500 billion, it is set during recent discussions with potential investors. After Dump was reelected in November 2024 and Nuttlicker helped lead his transition team, Cantor continued to work on deals alongside Tether. In December 2024, Cantor brokered an arrangement for Tether to invest $775 million in Rumble, a money-losing video sharing platform. Yikes. Yeah. Okay. In April 2025, Tether and Cantor partnered with SoftBank Group Corp. SoftBank? SoftBank? What? You say SoftBank? Is that... Did you say SoftBank? 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 You mean SoftBank? SoftBank Naver Joint Ventures NFT unit raises $140 million from Peter Thiel-backed private equity firm? You mean that one? You mean that SoftBank? You mean that one? Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Oh boy. In April, to announce the launch of 21 Capital Inc., a Bitcoin treasury company. I'm so curious. Oh, here we go. God. Wow. I'm just like freaked. This is so stupid. 21. Weird. Hold on. I'm just seeing if there's anything comes up. Wow, they just don't want to talk about anything weird. 21 Capitals transfers. Oh, okay, that's fine. Nothing. Oh my God, that guy's a baby. Okay, sorry. They have Jack Mahlers is part of the, part of 21 Capital, this thing that evolved out of it, and he looks like a 12-year-old. If Tether attains the value, okay, Tether and Cantor partnered. Okay, that's right. In July, Dump signed the so-called Genius Act, which was landmark legislation for the stablecoin business. The law contains provisions that benefit Tether, such as 3-year grace period before the company headquartered in El Salvador. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. must comply with U.S. rules. The only special interest guiding the Trump administration's decision-making is the best interest of the American people, said White House spokesperson Kush Desai in response to questions about Lutnick's divestiture and Tether's loan. And by securing historic trade and investment deals to level the playing field and create jobs for American workers, Secretary Nuttlicker has consistently put Americans and America first. No, he really hasn't. And what'd he do with his nanny and Epstein? Okay, there you go. In February 2025, Lutnick passed the chairman and chief executive roles at Cantor to his 28-year-old son, Brandon, who worked with Tether in Lugano, Switzerland, and recently described his blossoming friendship with Tether CEO Paolo Ardoino. As a Wall Street billionaire, Nuttlicker faced a complicated task in divesting. He didn't. Oh my God, bitch, he didn't. Fucking Bloomberg. He didn't divest. He gave it to his son. Oh my God. Carrie, how's your daughter? I've been at the hospital, crushed my little finger. Oh my God. Oh my God, Carrie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Carrie, how's your daughter? Is your daughter? Can we cancel greed? I don't think so. El Salvador, you know. Just coincidence. It's a coinkydink. She's still in Sri Lanka. Oh, is she any closer to getting home? Yeah. Oh, Carrie. Lutnick owned states in so many subsidiaries and joint ventures that even the ethics lawyers who reviewed his divestiture agreement worried they might not be able to discern where all his financial interests were, according to one ethics officer who worked on the filing. The officer asked to speak anonymously. Nuttlicker tried to put those concerns to rest in January 2025 when he filed an ethics agreement that said he would seek to divest his interest and resign from leadership positions at his businesses because some of the transactions required regulatory approval that might take longer. Lutnick said he would not participate, quote, personally and substantially in any particular matter. No sense from Qatar. Oh, Airways. Oh, my poor babes. Oh. I want our girl home and safe. In any particular matter that might benefit the companies he was divesting from unless he received an ethics waiver. Nuttlicker joined a crypto policy guidance panel in the administration's early days before he agreed in May to lock in the price of his assets and forego any future appreciation. He received a limited ethics waiver on July 8th that allowed him to participate in high-level strategy and implementation discussions on topics that might have a minimal effect on the companies he was selling. But he was prohibited from taking part in matters that would affect them directly. He completed the sale of his Cantor assets in October. Nuttlicker was one of a dozen people appointed to the president's working group on digital assets markets, whose members met more than 1,000 times with industry officials in late winter and spring last year. Jesus Christ. On July 30th, it produced a 160-page report that outlined the administration's plans. 3 members of Lutnick's staff at Commerce contributed to the document. I just want to put that out so I can read it later. Among the group's suggestions was to promote the development and growth of stablecoins, financial instruments for which Tether controls an estimated 2/3 of the market. Nuttlicker. He's buying refunds. He's buying all the stablecoin. Wow. Yeehaw. He got money from stablecoin. Policymakers should encourage their adoption to advance U.S. dollar dominance in the digital age, the document said. Sure. The group praised the Genius Act, subject of intense lobbying by both Cantor Fitzgerald and Tether. So that's kind of interesting because didn't the lobbying happen while he was still head of Cantor Fitzgerald? Doesn't that mean the lobbying would have happened while he was still in charge of the company? Because he just sold it like in October? I don't know. I'm really confused. Prior to his confirmation hearing, Nutlick was asked about his relationship with Tether and responded that he would, quote, faithfully execute my duties consistent with applicable government ethics, laws, and regulations. I was crossing my fingers. On May 19th, Cantor Fitzgerald and its affiliated companies announced they had reached an agreement to sell the bulk of the business to the Lutnick children. Oh, May, okay. Heralding the move as a transition to the next generation of the firm. Asset sales were completed on October 6th. Lutnick's interest in Cantor Fitzgerald's publicly traded affiliates, the commercial real estate company Newmark Group and brokerage BCG Group, Inc., were bought back by Cantor and those companies for a total of more than $350 million. Well, so doesn't that mean that that the loan is probably at least a portion, if not all, of the $350 million? Is there a world where that could be true? And did that money go directly to Howard, like to buy him out? You know what I mean? Like, I want my money back too. I want the house that I don't know. Okay. Anyway, all right. Well, there you go. That's oh boy. Okay. Well, we'll read that another time. Okay. Oh boy, the tariffs thing. Yeah, he had a rant. I can't. Oh, we're not going to read that today. Oh, I wanted to bring this up. Griffey posted this. Gareth Gore, Pope Leo asked me to meet him in a private audience at the Vatican today. This was 4 days ago. I presented him with documents and evidence detailing decades of abuse inside Opus Dei and urged him to launch a full independent investigation into the group. This is a big deal. We love Gareth. He was interviewed by Jim and Heidi and Hi-Fi on RadPod. We love Gareth. He's really, I love his work on Opus Dei is absolutely, I think, canon. He invited me after learning of the allegations made in my book, Opus, which he described as, quote, a rigorous piece of work. Oh, girl, the Pope, God's right hand, just read Gareth's book. Whoop, whoop. We spent more than 40 minutes talking, just the two of us, and he asked a series of informed questions. The book is the result of years of research, hundreds of hours spent talking with members, and access to secret internal documents. I detail evidence of child grooming, enslavement, human trafficking, psychological control, breaching the seal of confession, and drugging. I urged Pope Leo to launch a formal independent inquiry into the alleged abuses staffed by lay and clerical experts. I also asked that he reopen the canonization of the group's controversial founder, Jose Maria Escriva, who was made into a saint in 2002. Opus Dei has done everything it can to silence these serious allegations. It sought to threaten and intimidate us into halting the book's publication. It has tried to discredit me as a journalist, and it has accused me of lies and of being a conspiracist. Oh, where does that sound familiar? All the stewing on people. Hey, listen, if you're running around YouTube with the word stew in your username and you think it's somehow a clever thing, you're basically showing me that you're one of the stalkers that has made Jim's life a living hell, my life a living hell, everyone's life a living hell. So if you're unironically running around because you thought it was cute to put stew in your name because you're part of a stalker group, you should be embarrassed. And you know what? That shit is going to fucking come back and bite you in the motherfucking fat ass. Jesus. Every time I see that, I'm like, that cunt. How dare you run around with somebody's last name in your fucking handle and you act like you're a serious person? Strap in, bitch. Because that's going to come and bite you in the motherfucking ass. I know. Happy to hear it, too. That, you know what? You reap what you motherfucking sow. That's what I say. You reap what you sow, cunts. Why don't you spend your time online doing something other than just going after people? Oh, my God. I hate... that just fucking pisses... It's like so stupid to me. I'm like, you know what an idiot you look like? I can't wait until people find out that's what you're doing. You're running around because you fucking harassed someone all their lives. For the last 5 years, you've harassed someone, and you think it's clever to put their name in your handle. It's the same thing as that fucking guy that stalks me. He has the name of his account is somebody's granddaughter. Somebody's granddaughter. That's what you look like, a fucking stalker. Jesus. Fucking idiots. You know what? Good. I hope you all get it up the ass. I hope you all get fucking treated like the shit that you are. Sorry. Anyway, Opus Dei. I need to, you know what? I need to, yeah. Okay. I need to smoke more weed. It just makes you look like a stalker, and it's weird. And then when people call you that in chat, I'm like, do you realize what you're doing? Like, you're literally enabling this fucking stalker cunt. Oh, whatever. All right. Okay. Reap what you sow. That's in the Bible, too. Speaking of the Bible. But Opus Dei's Dirty Tricks campaign has completely failed. Pope Leo's decision to invite me to the Vatican to hear the findings of my years-long investigation into Opus Dei, I know, Carrie, I should probably do that, is proof that the church is taking these allegations very seriously, right at the top. Let's see, is there a press release? Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, this is the audiences. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, where is it?
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
There you go. All right. Oh my God. This is why I have no friends. You understand that? This is why I have no friends. This is why this show will never go anywhere. Oh my God. I don't know. I just think it's funny. And you know what? I think karma is a bitch. And I've seen it come around. And it's coming around right now for some people. And it's eventually going to work its way down to you too, sweetie. Okay. Let me see if there's a good article. I want to see. Well, I was hoping that he would. Oh, here we go. Is this his? Read more about today's meeting on Substack. Okay. Well, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and end for today. It's already been 3 hours, and we have a show tonight. I know. I'm so sorry, Jane. I'm talking about old history, and it's real dumb. So it's just all dumb history. It just kind of. I saw it the other day, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Is this real? Are these people still living in like 2020? I don't even get it. Whatever. I don't think that person even knows why they don't like Jim, okay? That's what I'm pretty convinced of, is that none of these people who claim so much hatred for Jim actually even know who the fuck he is and what he does. I just don't get it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of people, questioning someone like Jim when they themselves are much sketchier. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. You don't even know. Let me get rid of all these words. I know, I'm in quite a mood today. I'm sorry about that. I'm just sick of it. You know what? I'm just sick of it. And I got treated like real motherfucking shit. And now I'm sorry. I think people are really, and I'm not a mean person. And when people are mean, it just really fucking pisses me off. I don't know. You don't have to agree with anyone on the internet or social media, right? Like, you don't have to do anything you don't have to believe, you can just block them. But no, some people take it to an extreme. Yeah, something emotional balance. Yeah, right? Well, hey, why do I have to be always the emotionally balanced one, huh? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe people should be nicer. I don't know. Maybe people shouldn't stalk people. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is. How about that? Maybe people shouldn't betray. Yeah, only when nominally in your control. It's true. But maybe they shouldn't betray people. Maybe people should be more honest about their whatever's, their intentions. I guess that wouldn't. Kindness would do. Thank you, Meowing. That's really the end of the day. Just like, or just leave people alone. How about that? How about just leave people alone? I see so much self-created drama on the internet. It's really crazy. Anyway, sorry about that. Not the smoothest show in the world, but you know what? It doesn't always happen the smoothest way. Sometimes I get pissed off. But I'm not really pissed off. It's Friday. So tonight we're going to have trivia, but we have to think about, can someone think about movies? I think, honey, did you put some stuff in the in the Discord? So I'll take a look at the Discord and we will figure out movies for tomorrow. So on Discord tomorrow night, we have 2 movies every Saturday night, Saturday Slumber Party movie night. And Carrie, sometimes I'm too real. Sometimes I wish I was a little more of a robot. And I have you. No, I definitely learned some of my lessons. I didn't learn all my lessons, and I never will learn all my lessons. I'm pretty convinced. But I have learned some lessons. And so, yeah. But it's always a work in progress. All right. I will see you guys tonight for trivia. Trivia. So please come back for trivia, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30. We play this really weird game of spaced out trivia. It's kind of loose, and it's a great way to let go on a Friday night. So please come and join us for a couple of hours of hopefully laughter, hopefully. And I promise I won't bitch about people on the internet. All right. Have a great day, everyone. I think you're amazing. And if I don't see you tonight, have a wonderful weekend.